I think we are about to start, so please take your seats. You still have 1 minute to take coffee also with you, if you want. I wish you all welcome to the DigiLog4. This is now 4th time when we have DigiLog here in Botta. And actually, this is now interesting in that sense that now we are going on the results. 2 years ago, when we had DigiLog2 event here in the same Botta, we explained to you that we have a work plan, we have a vision, and some of us maybe had even a dream. And now, last year we explained, and the presentations were about midterm results, and also how we are now following the original work plan. And where we are today, we are having also results. The work is not done, for sure. There is a lot of things to do still. And yeah, I hope that all of you have a good event today. My name is Lasse Nykänen. I will be your moderator today. And we have also stream available, so there will be also people behind the screens. We have international team today, so let's speak in English. We have also demos there. They were already available there, and they will be there also during the coffee break and also after the official event when the cocktails start. We will start today with the keynote speaks. We have 2 keynote speeches, first from Traficom and then from Finnair Cargo. Then we will have a authority review. We have Teemu Heikura from Finland telling where we are with the Finnish gate, and then Jan Bergstrand explaining where we are in Sweden gates. Then we have a break. During the break, also our dear sponsors, Limova and Logy, will explain a little bit what they are doing. And then after the coffee break, we will go on the industry presentations. During the industry presentations, we will hear examples from Finland, from Sweden, and also in Estonia. So we have different cases there. And as we have a tradition here in DigiLog, we will end the official part with the panel that Matti Lankinen will host. And then after the official part, we will have cocktails. And I hope that all of you have a good event today. You meet new people. Hopefully you can sparkle some new business ideas or collaboration ideas with some of the stakeholders that we have today here. And with these words, I wish you all welcome. For the speakers, because we are talking now about the logistics, I wish that all of you follow the just-in-time approach, so deliver right package for the right customer on the right time. And in this case, it means that I hope that all of you have excellent presentations today, and our dear visitors can have good questions also for you. So I think we can now start with the introduction or welcome speech by Jarkko, Rantala and Marko Forsblom from ITS Finland. And this event is part of FT4EU dissemination activities. This is funded by Traficom, ITS Finland, and CaaS Nordic, with collaboration with our sponsors. But Jarkko, welcome.
Okay, good afternoon, ladies and gentlemen. On behalf of CaaS Nordic, I will warmly welcome all of you here in Botta Ballroom and online participants to the 4th DigiLog seminar. Thus, it can be said that this has already become a tradition to gather around the development of transport systems and the digitalization of supply chains. Because this seems already to be a tradition, I had to recall the themes of previous DigiLog events. I a little bit look at backwards that what we have done previously. As we have been living in a very rapidly changing and challenging operating environment since the first seminar was held in January 2023 in this same place. In addition to efficiency and high level of customer service, supply chains have been required to be flexible, adaptable, and must have risk management approach and ability to quickly find alternative solutions. Security of supply comes up in daily discussions, especially when it comes to the development of logistics infrastructure, including transport infrastructure development. At least here in Finland, we discuss it every day, and all the projects includes that kind of approach. The geopolitics is causing a lot of these increasing demands. In all these DigiLog events, we have had many interesting presentations from companies, developers, authorities, ministries from Finland and abroad. So this has been very, very interesting path so far, and it will continue. In the first DigiLog seminar, we focused on huge and fast changes in the logistics market, the role of transport corridors, resilience and risk management in supply chains, in addition to this digitalization, which has been maybe the key approach in all the DigiLog seminars. We seem to have been very enthusiastic after the first seminar when the second seminar was held in November, just like Lasse already mentioned, in the same year. The second DigiLog looked at development of eFTI quite much, and the role of logistics infrastructure also for efficient logistics operations to support growth, competitive and sustainability. So we always refer to many very important development topics. The third DigiLog seminar a year ago focused on the resilience of supply chains, digitalization of transport systems, safety and security in transport chains, and that kind of things. That was the first year we had also demo day, and it will continue this year also. So the series of DigiLog seminars has thus formed a very comprehensive picture of various influencing factors and market changes, digitalization and resilience requirements. This year's theme has been chosen to focus on success stories in the logistics sector. This time we focus on sharing information about progress, highlight achievements, and discussing ongoing initiatives. So we have today a very strong future orientation in these presentations. A lot has also happened in CaaS Nordic operations during this year. We have started a new project, Logistics Laboratory, Lopra, which is led by Limova, and our sub-project in a large entity. In this large entity is titled Transport System Models. With the project, we have been able to strengthen our own resources also, as we have been able to hire Juho Lehti, who is sitting there in the back row, and to work on the project, but he is also working in many other things in CaaS Nordic already now, and next year has a much stronger position in that CaaS Nordic also. I believe that this phase with increased resources will take the CaaS Nordic also to another new level in these actions and operations. I think that next DigiLog can also include presentation of results in Lopra project, some first results at least in some extent. I hope so that we can tell you what we have done in this interesting project. So, with these words, I want to thank our co-organizer, ITS Finland, Traficom, Limova and Logi, and all the speakers for enabling this conference. And also thanks to all of you for coming here today. We have again very interesting program ahead of us, and now I think it's time to give floor to our co-organizer, ITS Finland and Marko Forsblom. So please, Marko.
Thank you, Jarkko and CaaS Nordic, and also thank you, Traficom, Logi and Limova, being partners in this fourth DigiLog event. I even put some words on paper on this one. I think our task is quite simple. We just have to figure out and must show all the our partners, all the decision makers, how digitalization helps us to kind of increase efficiency and productivity of logistics, and at the same time decrease emissions and cost across the logistics chain. And thus to create competitiveness to our countries and also new business opportunities for our companies. And as nowadays is fashionable, I have actually 3 points how to do this is in practice. First, data is the fuel of logistics and the foundation of responsibility. When data flows seamlessly between companies, authorities and customers, logistics becomes real-time, predictive and transparent. Data does not only boost performance, it enables concrete actions on sustainability. I claim that carbon footprint will become as important as price and timetables when choosing logistic partners in the future. Second, digitalization turns cooperation into source of business. With shared standards like eFTI and platforms like eFTI, Europe is now building its first interoperable digital logistic data infrastructure. And we are really in front line with this development in the Nordics. This embodies also Nordic Council's vision, where Nordics are becoming the most integrated and sustainable and digital region in the world. That creates business opportunities both for our companies and wider ecosystem, as we can also see here today. And third, smart and automated logistics is the future, and this future is actually quite near. By combining automation, data and cooperation, we achieve higher productivity, lower emissions and real cost savings. And we do need all these 3 components: automation, data and cooperation. An excellent example of this development and Nordic excellence is Einright's automated truck crossing between Sweden and Norway few weeks ago, actually in September. A fully autonomous truck delivery where even customs clearance was automated through direct integration with authority systems. When data moves across borders, automation can do it also. This is the future of efficient and seamless logistics. And finally, one more task for all of us. While we are designing these new solutions of the future, it's important to also consider how these solutions can support our dual use and military mobility, because the future funding in future programs will be on those matters. We just have to figure out how this development can be used also on that field. Welcome to DigiLog4, and let's build the future of digital logistics together. Thank you.
Thank you, Jarkko and Marko. And actually, I challenge you, Marko, a little bit that in the end of this meeting or this event, I would like to ask, have we had any answers or solutions for those 3 bullets that you mentioned? So please follow and try to pick if you can find that we have solutions to offer for you. Good. And yeah, so now we can go on the actual presentations. And first I would like to invite Jarkko Saarimäki from Traficom, head of Traficom, to tell us what kind of benefits digitalization can offer for us. And I think we will hear more about this resilience topic also. Welcome, Jarkko.
Okay, thank you. Welcome to you all also from my behalf, and it's great to be here to discuss this very important topic with you. Even more now that I was able to get this beautiful hoodie from this event, so it was definitely worthwhile to come here. I was thinking of briefly going through the responsibilities of some of the responsibilities of Traficom and some of the ideas or areas that are most relevant or topical for us at this moment. Maybe just to give you overall glance what we are really focusing on now and in coming years. Briefly, some of the key points from our strategy. Our core tasks are still the same. We are building a safe and functioning society based on cybersecurity, transport and communications. We also are going to have some new responsibilities related to data, use of data and AI, which both are, of course, very topical and interesting areas for us. Last year, we renewed our strategy and we identified 4 key points. In this situation, I'm probably going to highlight 3 of those. First of all, we want to ensure the smooth, sustainable, safe and secure movement of people, goods and information in Finland. By this we mean that we want to, of course, create a secure society which is able to operate in any possible security situation, including the situation in Ukraine. But also we want to create an environment and logistical chains that are efficient enough to secure Finland's competitive capabilities. This means that our logistical chains must be as efficient as possible. Our second priority, the second from the left, we want to build sustainable economical growth together with our partners, our stakeholders. By this we mean that we want to create possibilities for Finnish companies to create growth, create new services, and by doing that, this is something that we are still trying to understand how we can do best, but the core principle is to cooperate, to be part of the development processes with the companies, create legislation and regulations that support the companies to grow and so forth. The third priority for us in our strategy is security. We want to be a pioneer of safe and secure digitalization, and this of course means that we want to be able to use AI, quantum computing in the safest possible way, but also being able to grasp the potential that they might have. And also, of course, cybersecurity is an essential part of this. We want to really be able to focus on creating cybersecure digital services, logistical chains in Finland. Regarding the cybersecurity situation in Finland, the situation in general cybersecurity situation in Finland is elevated. we have conducted a study with the National Security and Intelligence Police, SUPO, and we came to the conclusion that we are under constant threat from different cyber actors, cyber hacktivists, which are trying to promote or get attention to their political agendas or anything like that, something like that, are attacking our environments actively. Usually they are just some kind of DDoS attacks targeting soft targets. Cyber criminals are trying to steal information, do any kind of cyber crimes they can think of to get as much profit with as low risk of getting caught as possible. And governmental actors are trying to steal politically relevant information or create understanding how they can influence Finnish society by attacking our critical systems. Finland is quite well prepared for threats like this, but of course the situation in Finland is divided. I will show you some examples later on, but the overall situation, especially with the bigger companies, is quite stable. Here are some numbers about the cybersecurity incidents we have seen in the past years, and this year, as you can see, pretty much all of the categories are staying at the same level, but our estimation is that the overall severity of the incidents is increasing. When we were able to manage to, or when we had earlier, let's say 22, 23, something like a handful of serious incidents. Now we are seeing close to 20 serious incidents annually. I will give you some examples on the next slide. The overall situation in Finland is that we see something like 150 to 200,000 incidents that we can handle automatically. Those are usually infected computers or stuff like that. And roughly 20,000 incidents that require manual labor. These incidents vary from the Facebook account that has been hacked to DDoS attack targeting Nordic we saw last year. So the overall number in Finland is quite high, but as I mentioned, the seriousness of the incidents has evolved. Here are some examples about the incidents that we have seen in last years. Some of them, or even majority of them, might be familiar to our audience, at least from Finland. There has been incidents targeting our critical infrastructure, like the cable cuts we saw in the Baltic Sea last year. There are incidents that are related to data breaches. There have been several cases in Finland in which even big companies have lost the sensitive data they have, and the criminals have been trying to use it to extort the company. And of course, also there are quite a lot of attacks targeting the citizens, especially phishing attacks or different scam campaigns trying to fraud the victims to give out their personal information or give out the credentials for their accounts, and maybe at the end even lose their money. Here are some examples based on the National Emergency Supply Agency's study conducted on 22 about the maturity of cybersecurity maturity in different sectors. And as you can see, it's the sixth on the left side. Logistics in general is doing quite well, but as you can see, the spread between the companies is quite large. There are companies that are doing really well, and there are companies that are still struggling with the cybersecurity. And of course, as we all have seen in the Jaguar incident, I'm going to discuss a bit later, we are so interconnected that usually the weakest link is enough to cause severe damage for the entire supply chain. So that's really interesting finding from this study. Also, on the right-hand side, you can see ports and shipping, which is based on the information gathered by NESA, not doing that great. They are struggling. Their spread is quite big, and majority of the companies has estimated to have quite low maturity on the cybersecurity. So there are some challenges to tackle on that field also. Regarding the cybersecurity in Finland, cybersecurity incidents related to logistics in Finland, to summertime was quite peaceful, but now we have seen more active operations. Majority of the operations have related to different kind of phishing attacks, trying to steal, for example, Microsoft 365 information from the companies, but also other similar kind of phishing attacks. There has been also some quite interesting cases in which there has been phishing calls made through Teams. So there has been Teams that is trying to lure or fraud the company to give out some kind of critical information, credentials, or even to transfer money to the attackers. And there has been several DDoS attacks targeting the entire Finnish society, usually by the pro-Russia group called No Name, which has also targeted Finnish Traficom quite many times this year. I think more than three or four times, even in last months. But as I mentioned, these kind of hacktivist groups aren't very capable, and their attacks are quite easy to how could I say it, to evade or to protect your environments against. The impact has been quite low for us and the Finnish society, but of course they can cause disturbances if your for example, web page is down or so forth. International situation has been much more exciting, if that's the right word. There has been quite severe attacks against airports in Europe, which has caused significant disturbances to those airports and the services that they have been able to provide. Or it's not just the airports, it's of course the entire aviation sector. Also, the cyber attack in UK targeting Jaguar has been considered to be the most economically damaging cyber event in UK's history. Current estimation runs in roughly 2.1 billion euros. And the interesting part with this attack was that it has really caused a tremendous effort or disturbance, not only to Jaguar, but the entire supply chain. For example, Jaguar had to ask their employees to stay home for 5 weeks. They weren't able to continue the operations, and of course the impact to the supply chain is similar, because if Jaguar can't do the stuff, their production, keep up their production capabilities, they don't need the services from the supply chain either. Moving on from the cybersecurity side, The current security situation requires us to be quite active also on the international cooperation. We have been strengthening our Nordic cooperation quite actively on political level. Ministers have met several times. Also between the authorities, we are next time meeting next week here in Helsinki with 14 different authorities discussing the cooperation in Nordic level, and also transport mode. We are also active on the transport mode level. The basic idea is to guarantee functioning logistical environment in the Nordics in all possible security situations. This means preparing to the, let's say, normal situation, but also operations into situations like when we have lost the control to the Baltic Sea, and we'll have to supply, for example, Finland through land routes, and it's quite challenging task. What gives another flavor to this task is that it's not only infra question. We can't only focus on the functional infrastructure. We'll have to be sure that also the services are there. We can't make up services in the crisis situation if they are not there on the normal situations, or we can't force them to exist all of a sudden. The equipment has to be there. We'll have to have right kind of garages that we can use to move the material or the resources or whatever in all possible situations. And we'll have to have regulations in place that are harmonized enough so that we don't have to wait or do anything unnecessary in the crisis situation regarding the regulatory challenges. To wrap up, I want to highlight that the strong logistics performance is a shared mission. The cooperation needs to be multi-level, operational, and proactive. And digitalization is a must. When we come to one of our strategic priorities, I was talking about the logistical efficiency. The situation for Finland changed quite drastically when Russia's border closed in 23, I think it went. We did the final decisions that made Finland's situation much more challenging, and I think that there is a limit how much efficiency we can achieve by adding speed to the roads, or how much efficiency we can gain by allowing longer trucks to drive in our roads. The digitalization is a sector that we haven't yet utilized even closely as much as possible. It is extremely important for us to guarantee or to be sure that we have really taken all the actions we need on that section. And of course, we'll have to identify that we'll have to do it together. No authority, no regulator, no company, or none of us can do it alone. We'll have to cooperate, we'll have to identify the possibilities. As I said, when I started that Traficom is more than willing to participate in the development processes and trying to understand how we can achieve the best possible results from the, for example, digitalization. We are more than happy to continue discussions because we strongly feel that collaboration is key to the competitiveness. Damn, that's a hard one. Competitive capabilities of Finland. Thank you.
Thank you, Jarkko. Any questions? While you are considering your questions, I think EFTI is one of good examples where Traficom is now, as a part of the EU authority, enabling companies to use digital solutions, because EFTI will force all the authorities to be able to receive digital information. So now it's up to companies, can they really make those digital solutions? So that's a good example. Any questions? Matti.
Thank you. I'm stealing one from Finnair. We had a discussion. So basically, we're talking about data, sharing data, and it clearly is a big question that where's the value? And I think that this part has not been fully realized. And I understand that you mentioned also artificial intelligence, which basically would enable us to make kind of giant leap forward towards more efficient logistics. Have you considered in your strategy how AI could be integrated to logistics?
Yeah, that's a really good and interesting question. And we have considered it to a certain extent. We have a pilot starting in northern parts of Finland in 4 well-being areas. I don't know if that's the translation, hyvinvointialue. And we are going to gather all the information using Fintraffic's technical systems, all the information of all the Kela and well-being areas, taxi rides that are bought by government in that area. And first of all, it should give us a better understanding what kind of services we have there, but also at some point we should be able to use AI to optimize the rides, maybe even create new kind of data platform that companies could use to create their own services, because I quite strongly feel that we as an authority are not the right organization to develop these kinds of services. The companies are probably the right or more capable of doing that. They understand the economical challenges and possibilities much better than we do, and I'm hoping that by creating possibilities for the companies to get better data, we create them also possibilities to use AI. But of course we try to do something ourselves too.
Thank you.
Yes, thank you for your presentation. You mentioned about this Nordic transport system preparedness strategy you are working with, and those 4 different building blocks. And I kind of miss digitalization as a part of that. And I think the next one there. And I would think that this kind of situational awareness would be very beneficial in Nordic level, and if I could, I would put digitalization in the middle of those 4 blocks to kind of do this kind of interoperable system.
Yeah, that's actually a really good point, and when you started the question, I realized that we are lacking that level on this discussion, and this is something that will definitely we will have to take into account, and it might be also something that would create new possibilities for the companies, because it would create bigger home market for us to develop new kinds of digital services that could be utilized for our needs, for the company's needs, but also it could create us better situational awareness about the situation, because this is really complex. It's hard to understand the logistical environment or logistical chains within Finland. It's really hard to understand them on the Nordic levels. We are able to identify some bottlenecks and so forth, but when we are trying to model how the transport or the how, for example, we could maintain some of the basic needs of Finland through those infrastructural challenges, it's so much harder, because if we say something, it will say something else elsewhere. So this is something we'll have to really look into. Thank you.
Thank you. Final question for you is that this is old term, public-private partnership. Maybe when I was in the lectures of Jarkko back in the days in the Tampere University, this was big term. But how you see, what is the role of this kind of business public sector collaboration, how we can make preparedness for the resilience and especially the logistics side? What is the role like private sector, how they can support our resilience?
Well, I would like to start by saying that the companies are the organizations in Finland that create the well-being for us all. So it should be our shared responsibility to give companies possibilities to grow and to create services that are interesting and helpful for us, but are also helpful for the global markets, so that they could bring new tax money to Finland and so forth. And in my head, it seems quite obvious that it's not a good idea to create some kind of services for the government that can be only used by government and are created by government. I think it's essential that we partner up, try to identify and create understanding what kind of products and services the government needs, then give the free market go ahead to start innovating and creating and do it in a way that hopefully the companies can also use the knowledge and know-how and the products they develop in the international and national markets.
Thank you. Thank you, Jarkko Saarimäki. And then we go forward on our presentations. And next speaker we have from Finnair Cargo, Tommi Voss, and we will hear about the dual crisis. In Finnish we can say that this was the case when Pelikaani lensi turbiiniin in real life, and now we hear how they have tackled that, and this is actually a pretty good story, and also very excellent story in that sense that this is success story also at the same time.
Good. Thank you. Good afternoon, everybody. It's a pleasure to be here. A big thanks for the invitation. So, indeed, I will be discussing a bit on the history, even though that we will be looking still in the future on this one. It's partially a story of resilience, but it's also partially a story of digitalization and how we can utilize that in the future. A bit more on myself. So I'm Tommi Voss and I'm in charge of the operations for Finnair Cargo. And I think it's also good to note here that it's let's say natural for me to be speaking of this because I joined the airline on March 2020, which was actually 2 days before Finnair started to shut down flying. So it has been quite a change exercise and journey also for me. And you can also see from my educational history that I tend not to stay in one place. So I thought I would be in biology first, but then I decided I want to be flying, and then I started to think that maybe business is something that I want to be focusing on. Let's see what the next thing is, but now here discussing about this one. First, most of you know what Finnair is, but maybe a bit more that what Finnair Cargo actually is. This is an example of a one day at Finnair Cargo. We transport roughly 500,000 kilos per day. All kinds of commodities. We have king crabs from Norway. We have salmon, a lot of salmon that we are being transporting. General cargo, dangerous goods, pharmaceuticals, all of these things that we are transporting in air cargo. Only around 10% of our cargo is either originating or destined to Helsinki or Finland. So for us, we are playing in a global market where 90% of the cargo is actually transit cargo through Helsinki. There is also a part in air cargo that is going by land. As an example for us, if we want to have cargo from Asia into Europe, most of that cargo from Helsinki will be put on wheels and will then continue the journey on land. And of course, this also tells that we really need to have the platforms, and we need to have the capabilities of sharing data to enable these kind of transitions. We have a quite modern air cargo warehouse in Helsinki, roughly 150 persons who are working around within the Finnair Cargo and that facility. And the biggest commodity and the customer promise what we do is that we are fast. And here is an example of one of our biggest commodities, which is Norwegian salmon, that from the point that the salmon is taken out from the fjords of Norway, it starts to travel at 180 kilometers hours to get to the sushi table in Japan. So from the point to get that out, we really need to be fast to get that fish flying and get onto the sushi table. And of course that then is reliable for the whole supply chain, that we can get those moving. What is air cargo then? Air cargo is a, let's say, complex supply chain of a lot of different stakeholders. And this also maybe shows in a way that fish getting out from that fjord in Norway, on how do we get that through the whole chain within that timeline of less than 60 hours to get it onto the sushi table in Japan. There's a lot of different stakeholders involved, and this, of course, we are today discussing about eFTI and platforms and how do we do things together. This is the reason why we need this. We are in a multi-stakeholder environment, and in order for us to be efficient, we need to have the platforms and everything to discuss with each other. And maybe on that bingo for Marko, in terms of those three elements, definitely we need to do things together, and we really need to have that data to support all of this then. Then maybe a bit going to this story. Basically, when Finnair was struck with COVID, as with many of the other companies, we really needed to start thinking differently. And one of the big things for Finnair, we have been an airline for 102 years already in here, and we are used to disruptions. But this disruption was totally something different, especially when thinking that we were not anymore carrying passengers, but we were carrying cargo. So we needed to transform from a passenger airline into a cargo airline. And this, as a culture for the whole organization, was really something different. We really needed to think that how do we start operating as a cargo operator rather than a passenger operator. If you consider as a passenger, the flights are available already 10 months before, so you can book flights 10 months in advance. in air cargo, the same booking window is 14 days. So 15 days before, we don't even know if there is any cargo coming onto the aircraft. And then our whole organization needed to change into this, that then how do we operate, how do we get the crews, how do we get the crew hotels, flight permits, all of these within that 2 weeks window to still be operating with these cargo aircrafts or cargo-only flights. We have Rocky there, and this was something that my CEO back then, Mikko Tainio, said that when COVID struck and we had to shut down flying, and we thought that, okay, let's do something. And we really need to do something in cargo to support that we can still fly. And what we did was that we set up a teams, Rocky teams, and we gathered all the people from the whole organization to start think that, okay, how can we do this transition? What do we need to really enable to get there, to be that cargo airline rather than the passenger airline? And we started with small things, setting up checklists of what needs to be done for each individual flight to be able to operate them in the future. Another interesting project, this was something that when I joined Finnair in March 2020, I never thought that I would be then sitting somewhere in there thinking that how can we rip seats out of an aircraft to get more cargo in. A really, really interesting project, and a big support also from Traficom that we were able to do this from the decision that yes, let's take those seats out of an aircraft. In 3 weeks, we had all the permits and regulators and everything done that we were able to start operate on these. So this is also a good story of collaboration between the authorities and the business on how to get things done. One interesting fact also related to this story is that, as mentioned, we have quite efficient and digitalized warehouse in Helsinki. There is a lot of automation built in that warehouse. When our volumes actually went down in 2020 and we really started to, let's say, we were able to start look into things that can we do things differently within the warehouse? How could we still make the things more efficient in the warehouse? And what we actually did was that we cut down a lot of the automation that we had in the warehouse. And by doing this, we actually improved our efficiency and we improved our load factors. And don't get me wrong, digitalization and enabling automation is definitely the key, but in order to do that, you need to have the data correctly. And for us, our industry was not yet ready to give out that data through the system so that we could fully utilize the automation. And we took a step back in looking into that, okay, let's start fixing first the data, and only after that we start fixing the automation and getting the efficiencies from there. And we are still on that journey on optimizing how do we utilize that automation in comparison to how do we get the data from the network. Another topic that I never thought that I would be doing related to this one, I was also sitting in a meeting once figuring out that how do we estimate or forecast space weather better than before. When the Russian airspace was closed, of course, a really, really big hit again for us, whereas Finnair's strategy for several years or decades even have been the shorter route to Asia from Europe. When that closure happened, we needed to again rethink that, well, how do we do this? Luckily, we already back in the 80s, we had flown over the North Pole, so we had basically the, let's say, the tough parts ready there. So we took the papers and charts from there and started to investigate that what do we really need to do so that we can fly over the North Pole. And one of the things that affects flying through there is space weather. So when you have radiation coming from sun, that affects on the navigational systems, and if there is a lot of, let's say, a sunstorm, you need to fly more south. And if you fly more south, then the route is longer. If the route is longer, our available capacity in the aircraft for that salmon coming from Norway is lower. So we really needed to start look at how can we forecast that space weather better so that we can actually get more cargo and more of that salmon on board. Yes, but this was also something, again, coming from for the resilience and how do we actually collaborate with different parties on enabling things. Good. Challenges in the past and maybe still also a lot of challenges in the future. This is one maybe topic related to digitalization and data, which is the big topic and challenge for us in the air industry now and in the future. The data requirements are becoming more strict, especially related to customs data. This is something that maybe you have been reading from the papers with e-commerce and the boom of e-commerce coming from 50,000 packages in a year into 50 million packages in a year coming with air freight. And the problem for us in the industry of air cargo is that still our current way of sharing data is coming from the 70s on the EDI messaging. So actually with our current standards in air cargo, we are able to get 8 items on that message. Whereas the requirement, for example, on e-commerce already now might be thousands of items in a single airway bill or a single shipment. And we would need to cater those needs then to the regulators of EU customs and more also globally. US, for example, has now increased these requirements quite substantially. And us as an industry for air cargo, we are heavily struggling that how do we actually then do this, especially through different systems and digitalization. Luckily, I'll soon show you a bit on one record. There are things that we are then doing to enable this, but this definitely is a big problem for us. Yes, as mentioned, so this is not only coming from EU, but also as we are playing on that global market, there is a lot of different countries also setting up similar customs elements that what EU has done, PLUSy and preloading advice, customs information and stuff like that. So the data needs to be already beforehand at the hand of the customs to be able to load those shipments onto the aircrafts. And these are being implemented throughout the world constantly. Canada, UAE, US, Australia, a lot of the countries are setting this up. Then a quick look on how does then our industry is looking at what is important for us in the future. We saw those challenges what we had and the journey in a way behind us, and now maybe more on looking on to the future. EATA is the airline's top organization who is then producing a lot of this industry data on where should we look into the future, and we have identified as an industry 3 big themes. So digitalization as one, sustainability as second, and safety and security third. I have few slides on a bit more detail on these topics. First, starting with the digitalization and data sharing. If you remember looking at the end-to-end chain of air cargo, this is a crucial element for us. In order for us to get those things working, we need to have capabilities to build platforms. We need to have capabilities to share data between stakeholders within those platforms. I was actually discussing, or in a panel a few weeks ago in Copenhagen, related to trucking and air cargo and trucking. And one of the big themes that we actually discussed in that panel was that in order for us to really get the efficiency out of the trucking and air cargo combination, we need to build communities. We need to build communities around airports. And within those communities, we need to have the digital capabilities to support that fluent journey of the shipment. And eventually, it's not enough to get that community working within, but then we really need to get those communities discussing with each other. If we have a shipment or a truck from Helsinki originating in Amsterdam, it doesn't help that Amsterdam is able to do things on their own. those communities need to discuss with each other to get the understanding of what's coming or what's going from the other communities. And this is something that then it requires, again, a lot of that discussion, a lot of the cooperation between different stakeholders and us. As mentioned, one of the big themes for air cargo in the future is one record. So this is something that will hopefully, let's say, revolutionize the way on how do we share data. As mentioned, we are still working with the EDI messages developed in the 70s or 80s, and this is definitely something different. And this should then enable us the capabilities of true data sharing, so that we really can have always live data available to whoever stakeholders we want, and in a way unlimited amounts of data. If there are those 5,000 item level data on a single shipment for one record, that's not a problem. And this is something that we have been working with Fintraffic also to enable EFTI readiness also with the overall concept of one record and everything. So I'm really eager to see where can we go with this in the future. Maybe also here highlighting, again, falling back to the end-to-end supply chain of air cargo, and where I see that then different platforms and cooperation goes even further is that typically for logistics chains, different modalities, there is few common topics, and those are the shippers and the consignees. So how I see it, as we really need to build capabilities to enable that the shippers and the consignees are able to push in the data to the supply chain. And that can only be then done with standardization, with different platforms, and doing that multimodality of digitalization. Sustainability is a big thing in aviation. SAF, sustainable aviation fuel, definitely a big topic, and we actually have seen now that especially in air cargo industry, SAF is a big thing. So where we are in B2B business, more and more companies are interested in developing together capabilities of purchasing SAF and enabling their cargo shipments to be transported with SAF. And this is something that we have been also focusing quite heavily, not only in Finnair Cargo, but overall in Finnair, that how can we ensure that the logistical chain of air cargo can accommodate capabilities of SAF. Cybersecurity, of course, as we saw already earlier, a really important topic also in aviation, air cargo, and this was also something that we highlighted then as an industry. Then as a last slide, a bit of a busy slide, but this was IATA's thinking of where is our industry going in terms of warehouse functions in relation to air cargo. A technology trend radar that shows different things that what do we want to do. But I didn't bring actually this slide here to show that, okay, these are the nice things that we are thinking of having robots and automation and so on and so on. I'd like to highlight here that, as discussed earlier, for us also as industry in air cargo, and I hope that also in the same other industries also, we would first more focus on the data level rather than having nice robots doing things in the warehouses. Because in order for us to really succeed in doing these things what we have in here, if we don't have the data readily available on the level what we need, they are useless. And this is in a way the story for us also in the warehouse, what we saw in Helsinki, that in order for the automation really to work, we need to have the data on as detailed level as possible, especially when we are trying to optimize the load factor of a relatively small space of an aircraft belly. Only small deviations from the shipment data might break in a way the plan on how to optimize that limited capacity in a sense. So we really need to focus our efforts in building the capabilities of acquiring the data coming from the shippers and the consignees, and the ways on how to share that data through the supply chain. And only then we can really start investigating robots, AI, and stuff like that. Good. Thanks a lot for this, and I hope you had some thoughts on that one.
Thank you. I think there were so many different topics where we could discuss several hours, so thank you for that. Any questions? I think there is our community guy.
Thanks, Tommy. Very interesting. My name is Michael Lind. I come from Research Institute of Sweden, and I love to be in Finland, let's say that. And now I recognize that, and I didn't know it actually, but Finnair is was ranked 2024 as the 25th largest airline in the world. And if you compare that to Scandinavian Airlines, which is coming from Sweden, they are ranked number 80. So I didn't know it, and it's fascinating. One thing that you see when you do shipping, if you go to MSC, for example, the big shipping line, or the container shipping line, they start investing in flight services. They buy their own planes suddenly, etc. Is Finnair also expanding towards other modes of transports within your company?
Yeah, thanks for the question. At least for now, we are not investigating. As mentioned, I mean, we have a history of 102 years, and we still are a passenger airline. But maybe it's good to understand in aviation that cargo actually on passenger aircraft is a must. So if you look at the wide-body flight from Helsinki to Asia, roughly 15 to 20% of the revenue is actually coming from cargo. And those aircrafts would not fly if we wouldn't have cargo. So in a way, it's an essential part of the aviation business, even though that we identify ourselves as a passenger airline. Finnair Cargo had their own freighters back in, I think 2017 was the last freighter, but for now we are not looking into expanding in that area at all.
Heiti?
Hello, it's Heiti Merik from Digital Logistics Center of Excellence. My traditional question to the air transportation. What is your opinion at the moment? When the cargo is in air, then we can say that it's digitalized. But when the cargo will be coming to you or leaving from you, what is the percent approximately of those like shipments? Will be they digitalized, or how much you are working with the paper-based shipment documentation at the moment?
Yeah, thanks. That's also quite a good question, and this is something air cargo industry had an initiative in the beginning of 2000 of e-airway bills, so digitalized airway bills. And in a way, it was a successful project. Finnair reached somewhere 60 to 70% of the cargo being paperless. But I think it, during the last 5 years, or let's say 10 years, the importance of having a paper document or not paper document actually has decreased. And the idea has been that we want to focus more on getting the needed data from the shipments rather than just having the goal of no papers. So you can still have the papers accompanying the shipment, but on the background you need to have that data also digital. Currently we are actually telling to our customers that it's a mandatory starting point to have the shipment data on electronic. But the problem is not there that it's not electronic, but the problem is that it's not detailed enough. So we might not have the individual shipment dimensions, for example, which would allow us to do more. But we have the basic elements digitalized, and that's it. So maybe a long answer, but shortly said, let's say 95% of our cargo is digitalized, but the granularity and the detailness we are still quite far from actually getting something that we can really utilize.
And then the final question.
Thank you for your presentation. I'm Juha Palo from GSD Nordic. I'm developing a commercial campaign in Tekniikka-talous, the largest technical media in Finland, related to future of logistics and forerunners of logistics. This question is rather light, easy question for you. As a microbiologist, did you know that there's flying fish on North Pole before you entered Finnair Cargo?
That there's flying fish?
On North Pole.
I did not.
But obviously now there is.
Yes, exactly.
Okay, thank you, Tommi. Then we go forward, and next speaker we have Teemu Heikura from Fintraffic. Thank you. Teemu will tell us about eFTI, and if you want, you have seen maybe these blue shirts. This is the guy who might have soon online store where you can buy those. So Teemu Heikura add something. Teemu, floor is yours.
Thank you, Lasse. You always had something on my head. So, all right. Okay, today my topic is eFTI, what I need to know about eFTI. But before going to eFTI, a little bit of myself, not so long. So I'm still the project manager of the national implementation of eFTI. I have been here in all of those DigiLog event. In the first time I was in the panel, and in those 3 ones I was presenting something related about eFTI. So this is the continuation of the eFTI story here. And I'm coming from Fintraffic. So basically, if you are not aware which company is Fintraffic, so we are traffic management company, so we are controlling all the traffic in air, where is the Finnair also flying, sea and land it means also rail and road. And in addition of that one, we are also doing the ecosystem work, so we are facilitating that one in Finland, and also we are doing some other digital services like sharing the open traffic data. So our traffic data is quite open and you can get it. And also we have the public transportation national access point, and also this eFTI. But then, back in the actual topic. What is the reality of logistics today? We did a study earlier this year about the digital logistics in Finland. What is the situation? And like Jarkko in Traficom mentioned that in the cybersecurity, there is quite a big deviation, that some of those are very advanced and some are not in that advanced. It also applies in the digitalization in general in logistics. And surprise, surprise, the bigger companies, they are normally the most advanced in the digital logistics. They have used the data, they have own data analytics, they are doing the optimization in the logistics side. But the smaller companies, I'm a little bit worried about them. They are lacking of digital capabilities. They are needing help how to take advantage of digitalization, how to build the systems. So there is a big deviation between those bigger and smaller ones. And that is true that without those smaller ones, we don't have those bigger ones. So both are needing each other. So we need to take care that both are keeping ahead of the digitalization, that they are getting the benefits of those. But one thing is common for both, bigger one and smaller ones. If you are doing logistics transportation, example, the truck transportation from Finland to Germany, you still need to have those papers. And you are not getting rid of those. But in 2027, in July, when eFTI is coming in force, you can get rid of those. So eFTI is making possible that you can get rid of those papers and you can move fully digital on your cargo information. And today there was a news that our Confederation of Finnish Industries, they are saying that the regulation is something what is prevent the growth in the economy. In EFTI case, I highly disagree, because in EFTI is not stopping you, it's not preventing you, it is making you possible to move for digitalization. And because EFTI is mandatory for economic operator in the beginning, it's not doing any burdens or making things harder, it is just creating possibilities for you. So then about EFTI. What EFTI is, what really it is, it's a EU-wide regulation what is coming in 2027. It is creating a legal framework, but in most benefits thing what I see the EFTI is creating, it is creating standard how we can share the transport information, what we are carrying out. So the standard here is the big thing. And like Tommi mentioned, the data is key thing. And when you standardize the data, how you are sharing that, it is helping you a lot. And I also think that when we have this EFTI, it is also helping you to get rid of those old edifact messages and moving for newer technologies. And when EFTI is coming, like I said, it's only mandatory for authorities, so it's voluntary for economic operators, but there has been some discussion that maybe in future, after 5 years or something like that, it is coming mandatory also for economic operators. Maybe not in every country, but example, Spain is the one who are leading in that side, that direction, that it is coming mandatory for economic operations also. Okay, because I'm engineering, my background is in engineering and software development, I always need to show one architecture picture. And this is my architecture picture today. So this is showing you the EFTI components. So basically, in the middle one, there's the EFTI gate, what we are developing, and you can consider it as an integration service. So then, in the economic side, there are those platforms, and there are many ways how you can build the platform, but there will be also some regulations which are setting boundaries, how you can do it, and what are the functionalities. And all the data, it's on the platform side, and the platforms, so economic operators, they are only sharing the minimal set of data, so-called identifiers to gate, so that the authorities can find the data when they are stopping the truck or doing some controlling. So in that sense, you are still owning the data and you are keeping it in secure way. You are handling that, and only when authorities is asking that, then it is shared. But that's about the architecture. Where we are right now in EFTI. The regulation for gate, it's already there. We are now discussing about the small technical details, how to make it interoperability. Then the platform side regulation, there is the draft already available, what you can read, so you can get the idea what you need to fulfill when you are implementing the regulation. And then there is also coming the certification regulation, that when you are building up your platform, you need to certify it so that it's secure and you are fulfilling the needs of the EFTI platforms. But that's not out yet. It's coming on next year, so that you are not in a hurry yet in that sense. Also, there are those 3 projects. First, EFTI for EU, like you say in my shirt. Then there are EFTI for all and EFTI for life. Those are supporting Commission with the EFTI and also the industry with EFTI implementation. And this is what I have been asked quite many times from the industry side. What about the security? Is my data safe? How we are making it secure? So there are regulations what is saying how you have to secure your data, but still you are owning your data. So I'm thinking that it's like checked. What about cost? Is it expensive? Well, authorities, they are not charging you when you are using the EFTI. So in that sense, you are saving money when you are using EFTI because you don't anymore print the paper, and as you know, the paper process is more expensive than the digital process. So in that sense, you are also saving money, but of course, when you are doing digital solutions, there are some costs what you have to pay for that when you are implementing it. Or you can buy software as a service. There will be EFTI platform providers. They are not there yet, but they are coming. And also, we are also wanting to support you with the implementation. There is the web-based EFTI.fi where you can find a lot of information about eFTI, and also on the technical point of view, we are publishing in the beginning of next year the developer portal where you can find all the information what you are needing for doing the platform integration. So there will be the API descriptions, guide, what the steps you need to do, what kind of certification and so on. Normal stuff in the software development side. All right, that was the EFTI, the current state. But when we are looking for a little bit further, like Tommi was saying and showing the radar, and Tommi also highlighted the importance of the data and mentioned also the data sharing solutions. I am also seeing that in future there will be that kind of data sharing solution, and EFTI will be only just tiny construction piece there. EFTI is only one piece of those data sharing solution. One of those could be the airport data sharing solution, and also in the maritime side, the harbor. They are needing a lot of data. There are many parties who are needing the data. And if they have the relevant data and on time the data, they can optimize their work. And also when harbor knows when the cargo is there, they can also advise the ship, those bigger ships, should they come sooner or later in the harbor. And if they can lower the phase, they are saving fuel. So there are also the cost benefits what they can gain. And also I'm seeing that now, because the companies have now digitalized their own processes, so there is a limit what you can do when you are doing the part optimization. So if I'm doing my optimization, I can do it in one certain point. But if my customer wants that the whole supply chain is optimized, it's not enough that I am only doing my part optimization. You need to optimize the full supply chain process. So I'm believing that that will happen in 2030. And there are already some projects ongoing in that directions. And I think that in Finland we have to go for that one if we want to compete against the other EU regions. Just to summarize my presentation, even though somebody of you are not liking that I am saying that you are not in hurry with EFTI, that's kind of true because the regulation is not there yet, but you are hurry with the digitalization. There are a lot of new regulations coming from the EU side, and every one of those are highlighting the importance of the data. So if you have not yet digitalized your process and you don't have the control of your data, please start it right now so that you can answer for future needs. And maybe one point to start with that one is just the traffic data. There is also a lot of traffic data already available, what you can utilize when you are doing the road logistics. So take the benefit of what is already there and then prepare for future what is coming there. Thank you.
Thank you, Teemu. Any questions to Teemu? I have one. Summarize in very pragmatic way. Let's say that we have, for example, Alisa software company, which is giving a demo there in the background, and they are now supply chain platform. What they need to do that they will be part of your testing environment or be EFTI platform?
If they want to be EFTI platform and they want to do integration with us, if they want to do it right now, it needs that they are sending email for us so that we can share the guidance how to integrate. But after the in the beginning of next year, when we are releasing the developer portals, there will be us, and then, okay, it needs some communication, of course, but it will ease a lot because there is also structure how to join for our platform, our gate. So, basic software stuff still.
Okay, any other questions? There, Jyrkis.
I was sitting and listening to all the speakers before, and I have questions for everyone, but you know, in the morning it's very hard to start. Okay, so now start like that, but I am from logistics. I spent 23 years now in logistics. When it's called, we are wheelers. We are doing logistics on wheels. Actually, the last 15 years I'm doing customs brokerage business in 9 countries. What are you thinking, all of you, about eFTI and eCMR? How it will be relevant and how it will work? And what is experience in Finland about this? Second question about the data, when we are talking about digital data, so especially before I was just doing transportation, now I'm just doing customs clearance, I'm totally sure that these data sets are separately. Like you mentioned about Finnair and about e-commerce, now our main client is Teemu, not this one, but Teemu from China. The transport company or forwarding company do not know what is inside the truck, and they do not care what is inside the truck. For them, it's will it fill into the truck, and how many kilograms it will be on the ACES, and that's it. And after that, for customs brokers, it's very important to do that. What we are facing when we are doing customs clearance on Switzerland border, so we are just getting the hand-filled CMR. So that's why, for me, it's very crucial to understand how you all think, how the eFTI implementation can involve to get better data sets, maybe through eCMR or whatever. And second thing, what is about the penalties? If you are not providing data to eFTI, are ES thinking about this? Because we have a very good example in Poland. They implemented RMPD declaration and put a 20,000 zlotys fine. Believe me, how digital data is very well provided to the RMPD system in Poland. So how these all the data and things can be, how to say, brings our life better? What do you think, all of you?
Teemu, do you want to start? Maybe Tommi also have already.
Yeah, thanks. I think that's a very good question. How I see it, and might be that I'm wrong, and maybe Teemu can then correct me, but how I see it is that in your example with those Teemu shipments coming the e-commerce, and we have even a bigger problem in there that for our flight, when we are transporting those goods coming from, let's say, China, we already need to report on that item level that what's actually inside each individual box. Those each individual consignees, for example, that you might have hundreds or thousands of consignees on a single shipment. And we would need to know that on which box those are. And our industry, as I mentioned, we are still in how to get this data. We are still working with the EDI messages coming from the 70s. So you have the capability of having 8 different items on a single shipment. So it's impossible to do it in there. And then maybe in a way that how do we as an industry in aviation then get this fixed? We need to build systems. We need to build the capabilities of different data sharing. And currently, how I see it, without eFTI or something similar, everybody is doing it on their own. So we are producing something here in Finland for our needs, and then an airline in Germany is doing something on their own. Whereas the problem is that the data needs to come from the shipper. So we need to build capabilities as an industry to have a standardized way of getting the data from the originator, rather than everybody's building something on their own, and then Teemu or whoever would be providing the data would have 15 or 25 or 35 different ways of sharing that data. So how I see it is that FT is bringing standardization on this field, that for the originators of the data, you have a single point, a single standard, and something that we can work on there.
Anything to add, Teemu? I think this is a topic that we will discuss much more also during the coffee breaks and maybe in cocktails, but Teemu.
Yeah, I totally agree about that. The standardization is the key thing. FT is only inside the EU, so that custom problems, FT is not answering for that one. And also, if you are checking the data, in what detail level you have the data in FT. So basically, it's not setting any more detailed requirements for the data than what you have currently. So basically, you still can have the situation that the truck driver doesn't really know what is inside of that truck. They only know that there are electronics, but is that phone, TV, or what any kind of stuff? It's depend on what granularity you are reporting in your waybill level, what's the data. So the standardization is the key thing, but I think that maybe in future, because the customs and those, the data importance will highlight it by the industry, and they will do the actions, not the actual eFTI.
Thank you, Teemu. Thank you. Then we go forward, and I will check. Actually, I have checked these T-shirts are not from Teemu. They are from Teemu. Next speaker we have from Sweden, Jan Bergstrand from Trafikverket. Jan will tell us insights from Sweden and where we are and what kind of challenges we have faced there and what is coming in the future. Welcome, Jan.
Hello, you remember this one from Peter Forsberg when he just took the last penalty towards Canada '94 in hockey. So I do the same now, preparing for a speech here. Well, I saw in the program that my title was to be announced. So I have to ask the panel about here if they have any suggestion. Okay. Swedish challenges, okay. Yeah, Swedish challenges and what has happened since last time I was here. A couple of years ago, people reminded me about my slides. They were in the mood of the White Album of the Beatles. They were only black and white. So now I'm more colorful, as you can see, and improved. So it's more like Sgt. Pepper's Lonely Hearts Club Band or Yellow Submarine or something style. But there has happened more things than that. For instance, thanks to this forum, which is the 4th time I participate, I counted this morning together with Teemu. And yeah, we have joined this FT, which was mentioned in the White Album pictures for that sake. But then at that time we were more or less tasting and looking into it. Since then we have actually been also coordinator of FT for All, one of the 3 projects going on. We are observer in FT for EU, and we are in a pending mode, but at least affiliated, associated partners in FT for Life. So we are participating in all 3 European initiatives, and we are very happy about that. And of course, that has made us to have some progress, which of course by a regulation has to be done anyway. But just to start with that. But that doesn't mean that there is no challenges left. It's just that you look into all the challenges you have to do. and align yourself with. One thing that we took some time, we had start the European projects long before, you can say, but recently, a couple of months ago, we finally got an assignment from the ministry to also have a national setup of EFTI project. And that is, of course, that the European project is complementary to the national initiative, if not the other way around. That depends on how you look at it. But now we at least have released a portion of money over the years to 27, when we have to have the gate installed, which we can combine then, of course, with the projects EFTI for EU, LIFE, and not at least EFTI for all, which we are coordinating, as I said. We are strongly believing in EFTI for all approach with a similarity as we had in Federated, another quite well-known project where the EFTI was a little bit introduced in some of the living labs. So we have also in EFTI for all the use case approach, which is quite heavy. We have, of course, continuously work with road mapping, taking the next steps out from EFTI for EU down to EFTI for all, and that kind of journey will continue, and it's a living document. But we have those use cases, and in those use cases we have also sidekicks, you can say. We have decided to go for some analysis and use cases with ECMR, of course, in combination. We have also PEPL as one topic to be analyzed. We have Nordic initiatives coming from not at least Finland, but also the Danish friends and Norwegians is on, and we are looking into this. And in the assignment from the ministry, there is clearly stated that we should take advantage of combinations with the European projects, the Trinity, but also the Nordic initiatives, of course, to be reasonable in getting this up running in a quite short time, 27. So this is a clear tactical move we see, and also strategic. Of course, when you have use cases, you need to approach also the input to the gate, otherwise it doesn't bring any value. If you don't get the business input, you don't you can have how many gates you want, but it's no effect. So now we are also able to, first of all, naturally contact our colleagues in the authority side, who have to have an interface to the gate and have a clear discussion and so forth, but also lifting up the issue with industry and transport industry. So this is a clear communication field that we have had difficulties. We have started, of course, already with the EFTI projects, EFTI for all project, etc., but we haven't been able to be so clear as we can be now with the assignment from the ministry in our hands. So we are now pushing up efforts in the communication field to go out and meet transport industry, supplier industry, and also naturally our authority friends. So how do we do this? This is a preliminary scheme. We have both internal and external steering group, where I'm one of the ones. We have a project management, where a guy who also is active in EFTI for all in the use case field, Robert Sommer, is leading. And we have communication, we have legal aspects, we have IT experts coming in, external as well as internal. We have a pretty big IT department at Trafikverket, but we have also RISE, for instance, as external support. We look into governance concepts, and we have this authority and business coordination, which I was pretty much talking about. And as I said, we focus on the Trinity project in CEF program, but also the Nordic and Baltics collaboration is essential. Yeah, and what do we do here then? Yeah, we try to get to the next level with some of the living labs use cases from federated, but we have internally, we work with this structure you saw with governance, with IT, with communication. We have transport users where we have the suppliers of those transport management systems, etc., who wants to get in and offer, of course, another application in the systems called eFTI then. And we have also the shippers, which is often forgotten, and the logistic companies, of course. We work in the projects with use case approach and concepts stemming from, for instance, federated, but also a project Phoenix. And there is this virtual watchtower concept, for instance, that Michael Lind will talk a little bit more about. That is one of the results from earlier DTLF approaches and projects. We have also RISE then appointed for being leading use case field together with University of Dalarna. So we have some external help, and they were also active, by the way, in federated. And then we have a wide range of authorities that is pinpointed in the assignment letter. So Länsstyrelsen means regional instances, but there is, of course, the maritime administration, it's the customs, it's the police, and some others as well. So here is a huge task to get this going now. And what do we have to do then? Of course, we have to fulfill the regulation, full speed ahead. We have to secure that the platforms can be connected according to the standard interfaces, and we have to establish some governance given the IT solution chosen, and we have to do this huge job with relevant stakeholders. And now when we have the possibility to start up in a formal way, we will maximize our efforts from now on, and we have appointed up to 10 people now. It was 7 last week, so it goes fast here. But now we think we have some resources internally, and we will also now contract some external help, and we will also look in more deeply into the Nordic-Baltic collaborations. Is there any risk? Yeah, you can see it's the time, of course. We have lost some time in this mess with not getting this assignment in time, we think, but now we have it, we can't complain. Now it's just full speed ahead. I take also the chance to talk about, since this is not pure eFTI maybe, there is also seen some slides from Finnair Cargo, not at least, and others with data sharing as such and digitalization. And of course, this must be a tool for getting into digitalization. Maybe not the unique selling point in all communication slides is that the police has an easier job or something. I think it's also a transparency of information flow in intermodal cases, releasing capacity in the transport system. It's also disturbances that some of the authorities can fast get dangerous cargo identified, etc., so that the disturbances when incidents happen is getting faster. So there is much more values than just the control side. Of course, the shippers, if they have some kind of corporate social responsibility policies, and companies like Stora Enso, for instance, and others, they do have that. So I guess they are interested in some kind of that part as well. So we should not take it away. No, but now we front a lot with it, and maybe that's not the very best argument to get going. It's other values as well. And when it comes to data sharing, there is also these questions about how we can take good initiatives. It was not only EFTI we were talking about in federated together, for instance, it was data sharing in corridors, etc. And then there is also initiatives on European level with European mobility data spaces, with so-called EDICs to be set up, where you have some kind of governance opportunity and scale up good initiatives, so they're not just is inside of the project level, it's wider than that. And this is also something that we have put into a GES, and hopefully there could be a pre-study in a Boost EDIC initiative. There is actually 5 countries now saying yes, but not the one that they asked for, Germany. But let's see if they also say something positive. And then we have also a tool, and governance is something that EFTI also is talking about. So maybe those two instances can collaborate and find solutions together. Let's see, but there is also data sharing initiatives that I would like to address, and we are also looking at that on Swedish level, and EFTI is part of it. Let's put it like that. So that's it. Sweden going from black and white to a little bit more colorful, but still most job to be done. Thank you for today.
Thank you, Jan. Don't go away. We might have questions for you. Any questions? I have one. One of my favorite topics is this collaboration between business and authorities. And like you mentioned that this is huge risk, that the time is huge risk, and how we can maybe make it shorter. In all of those 3 projects, I am looking after the pilots, and I have had honor to collaborate also with you already since 2019, and now with Robert also in EFTI for All. But do you have any like lesson learned from this process that you now faced in Sweden, that how we could make it shorter to make this kind of like from ideas to go on actions and going on the pilots, because this was long journey that you had to get the assignment, and anything that how we could make it easier, faster?
Yeah, not making everything yourself, taking advantage of others, and that's what we are. Since we were a little bit behind in the tempo in EFTI question, we have the EFTI for almost 1.5, 2 years work, and of course we will and shall take advantage of those things, not starting over ourselves. We have also concepts from federated, like not at least virtual watchtower. It's a little bit in the innovation field. If we can find models that also make it possible to have a governance over time, put it as a body that not only is a research body but also executing, then we can speed up and use those. And I think there will be multiple interfaces going into the gate. So it's not one size fits all. It's going to be a defined interface, I guess, generic, so that TMS suppliers and other good platforms can connect quite fast, I hope.
Thank you. Any other questions?
Yeah, hi, it's Matti. Also about federated. I think we were really building a kind of an ideal world for data sharing in federated, and we saw one record example from the airline industry, which I think is maybe the first area where we are actually seeing that happen. You also mentioned EDIC. Do you see that a similar data sharing like we were developing in federated would come to other modalities, maybe through EDIC or through some other channel, because that's definitely what we are lacking currently?
Yeah, we have a proposal that was accepted for making a setup of EDIC. EDIC is an organizational decision from each and everyone's member state. So that's a process internally in each and everyone's country. So that's an organizational setup, but it should have some content as well. And what we have getting accepted from DG Connect in this case is the Boost EDIC, and there we have a proposal out which has been accepted, but due to unstable situations in Germany and France, for instance, with new government, there has been some hesitation and dropouts. Nevertheless, in that, also there is use case as one of the cornerstones, and but there has been merged, so initiatives have been scaled up. And in the EDIC, it is also mobility and logistics. So mobility means also that there is, we have to deal with our friends in passenger traffic. So it's a wider setup. But the most concrete ones in this use case bundling has been actually the freight use cases. So it's more concrete sometimes, even if there is also others from the other mobility side. So what is there is to map and scale up and give strength and not so fragmented things. So they lift up, let's say, fields of competence or fields of solutions from various projects. It's Gaia X, it's federated, and then they take bits and pieces from each and every one of them and bundle into one group. And then they feel that this can give us strength, and that can also, due to memberships then in the EDIC, not only scale up as solution, but also cross-border-ish. So maybe EDIC can be one way to do it. A big federated too.
Yes, one question, as I tried to get that collaboration marking to my bingo, so I have to ask, do you have some kind of real collaboration, for example, with Fintraffic, or are you doing your system and Fintraffic is doing their system? Are there going to be some kind of interoperability? Because I think that it was the basic idea.
Yes, the quick answer is yes, there is collaboration, and we are meeting each other regularly. And we have to, of course, find a way forward. So no own development as such.
Thank you. Thank you, Jan.
Okay.
Let's give applause for Jan. And now I ask Tommi and Janne to come here to have a short speech about Limova and Logy. So we heard also that this is collaboration between the communities. So this is one way how we are doing that. And while guys are coming here, maybe Tommi, you can go there and get the slides. Then after these guys, there will be a coffee break. So they are just between you and the coffee, like was also last year. During the coffee, there we have also demos in the backside. So you can go there, grab your coffee, go and discuss with the guys who are giving the demos. We have there Veria is giving from our platform development and also about the Delve digital end-of-life vehicle platform. Then we have DigiLogistiikka, Heiti is somewhere giving also the demos about the DigiLogistiikka, Baltic corridor. Then we have Alisa software giving a demo about the supply chain platform. And then we should have also Keypoint there. And also CaaS, which we have about the digital queue management system. But now.
Okay, thank you. My name is Tommi Pietikäinen. I'm a service manager from Logu. And Logu is Finnish Association of Purchasing and Logistics. So we have 5,400 professional members in our association and 350 company members. Yearly we are doing 100 events and 50 trainings. And why this is important to logistics and purchasing people? We accelerate the business. We make possibilities to best networks. We are developing individual and organization skills, and also we inspire people in a relaxed way. I also saw here a few reasons why to join this procurement and logistics network. So actually we are doing over 100 events yearly, and it means seminars, it means this kind of regional events and also seminars. So there is coming, for example, Logu conference soon, which is our biggest seminar, so I have a few slides there also in the end. As I said, we are the biggest network in Finland. So we have also this kind of all over the Finland this kind of event. So we have 12 geographic areas. We are doing trainings to professionals. So there is a lot of different trainings also to join, and all the time we are renewing those courses. So actually it's good to check in our website. There you can find all the newest training. I have listed here a few of the benefits and tools what you can get when you are part of the Logu. So most of the benefits we are doing also with our collaborations. So if you go, for example, skiing to Tahko ski resort, you can get the discounts via our memberships. Also, Ostologistiikka magazine is very popular. It is carried to home or office 6 times a year. Also, we are a member of international organizations, so we ask you can get some kind of benefits, for example, ELA membership, and get also involved in trade fairs with Logu trips. And a few words about Logu conference. We are gathering with 500 people, professional people to Helsinki. And the place is now at Kulttuuritalo, the House of Culture. So there is a conference, networking event, get-together show and dinner, and after party. And then the next day we have post-conference day, which is visit in some company. And here is a couple of speakers, what we have also already get there to our conference. So, for example, Mika Antonen is quite nice speaker, and Oktay Nuri also from DHL Finland. This was my part, so Janne will come with the limo. Thank you.
Yes, thank you, Janne Lausvaara from Limova, and just before the lunch break. But yeah, the coffee break. Sorry, I'm a little bit, my stomach is empty because I came from Turku. Yeah, Limova is a logistics development association here in Finland. We are really connected to Europe, and we are, at the moment, we are pursuing 2 different horizon goals, and we were also in September, we were in 2 different goals, and of course we would like to invite all of you, people from Baltics, people from Nordics, and also from Poland, to join us basically to get new fundings, because it's really tough there working and trying to get funding. We are now, for example, in 2 calls predicting and avoiding road crash based on artificial intelligence and big data, and also the battery heavy electric vehicle long haul use cases. The name is really, really long. I'm not even trying to say that. We also have our next bigger event coming also 5th of May in Jyväskylä Transport Arena, and of course you're all invited there also. But yeah, come to talk to me if you want to talk about national or international funding. Yeah, thanks.
Okay, let's continue. So now we will go on the industry outlook, and we will hear insights from the industry side. What kind of solutions, what kind of pilots has been done, what kind of results we have achieved already. And we will start with Riku Ilomäki. He is representing Flowertrucks today. Riku is also the guy who has several hats, but now this time representing Flowertrucks and telling example about eFTI pilot, which was actually one of the national pilots in eFTI4EU project. So Riku, please, welcome.
Thank you. Great to be here. And well, we actually did it. So about the project, there is always that. What is it? It's I would say it's the making of document in the bonus features of all the movies when you buy the movie, and this is sort of that kind of making of document. About the project, the objective of the pilot was to test end-to-end eFTI data exchange system in collaboration with an SME road transport company, which I present, and an ECMR service provider, an eFTI platform provider, and also a competent authority and eFTI gate. And the main focus of the pilot was the basic process of eFTI. So our part was find the data. Where is it located? How do you collect it? Do the selection, what is the correct source of the data, and so on. The pilot, it really showed how economic operators like Flowertrucks can collect and deliver eFTI data from their own operational systems, and what kind of data there is and availability. So about the Flowertrucks, and this is not only the commercial thing, it's because that you understand and get some sort of picture what kind of environment is that where we are working. So Flowertrucks operates daily between Central Europe and Finland. The main service is temperature controlled transport from Netherlands and Finland and reverse. So the size of the company, it's not very big. It's big, but not so big, so it's sort of mid-sized company. 50 own employees and also subcontractor network, which is, I would say it's almost 50%. And 70 trailers in regular traffic during the high season. With the third-party rent companies, the fleet increases about 20%. We do have locations in Bleiswijk, Netherlands, and in Tuusula, Finland. The company has been very focused on development all its life. So it was sort of good thing to have a stable environment and also long history and understanding own processes and development. So that was something what makes our job, I don't say it's easy, but it was easier when we know where we do get the data and so on. Also, the SAP business one has been used in the company since 2009. So that's it was a good thing because there is no need to think how the real applications would work, or ERPs, because we were having one of the biggest. So that was, I think it was a good benefit in this case. Also, we use a lot of telematics and system integrations in the production. So that was also something we knew quite well. So what did we actually do in this project? We did a data definition and mapping. We searched the documents, what we use these days, what solutions we have, system solutions like SAP. Then we search it, related data from SAP, and select the right source for each CMR cell. And that's where we used the eCMR service provider. It was sort of, I would say it was a physical mapping and search matching cells. And now when it's on a single page, it looks easy. It was easy. So here's the company who is sending. This is a carrier, and this is a carrier's contacts and so on. But suddenly, when you need to search it, and when you need to know where is it coming from, and what would be the correct place to take the information, then it becomes more difficult and tricky. Anyway, we did do the mapping. What do we have in SAP in our own ERP? Where is it located in transport document? And is there something missing? What were the demands and requested info in FT dataset? And then we check what we are missing, what we are having, where do we get that missing information? And believe me, there was a lot of missing information. And there was a lot, although we thought that we are quite good in this, in our business, there was a lot of things that when we checked the source of data, when we check is it reliable, there was many things that wasn't so solid as we thought. So to find the correct source was very tricky. And when we realized that, we tracked the sources. What was the origin of the data? What was the origin of the info? Was it manual, or was it created during the process? Once we get reliable data, as reliable as possible, and all the data, and we fulfill the demands, then we created that data set, what we did send to FT platform and also eCMR platform. We did it double. We didn't need to send it directly to FT platform. In the beginning, we planned that we will send it to eCMR, and then there it goes forward to eFTI platform, but we did both. then some notes and thoughts what there was. From point of view of a transport company, it's critically important to understand our own processes. And also that those processes are documented. What are those correct sources for data? And I say it so often that correct sources, because that's all matters in what is the usability of the data. Because once you create data, it's generating in the process is generating new data. If it's wrong in the beginning, it's wrong in the end of the whole process. Regarding the data used in transport process itself, the transport company only produces vehicle information, and it's not even discovering a new register number for the trailer or truck, but there is that, for example, in authority database, there is every trailer has register number, and the real source is actually Traficom's register. But we do select the unit. Also the carrier details, we know what is the company who has ordered or who is transporting that goods, we know, but there is also a register behind, where are the official information. So there is a risk that the local registers are not same as the official registers, and that is something which is making data very unreliable in some cases. And when we realized that what is actual new information, what we create and what we provide in the process, it was a driver's signature. The only thing is new in the chain is driver's signature. All the other we take somewhere else. So from the perspective of data generation, the role of the transport company is quite limited. And then there is a question how to get access to correct data, to correct sources. So the usability of so-called primary data from an FT perspective directly depends on the quality of the data. But I would say that the project was successful because all the parties do have the necessary technical capabilities. All were able to join in, all were able to change during this project. Whatever was needed, we did find it. That was one of the best projects I've been involved, because it was very focused to develop, and all parties were very interested how to get to the goal. But as a summary, the most significant challenge was finding the right sources of data and the quality of the data. And what I told you about the business of Flowertrucks, this was only one transport company, so-called easy case, very simple service, very simple administration and so on, only one system SAP involved, but variations in processes are many when you take a look to the transport industry generally, and it will be a challenge. when we were summarizing what good this will create, it's that EFTI reduce data fragmentation and improves the possibilities for using data through improved data quality. Because we did some tests afterwards, and there was no errors in data, and also that you didn't have to some KPIs. You didn't have to fix them afterwards, but you get them directly correct. And then we were also thinking that if all the other transport companies as well can deliver that kind of data, that would be the beginning for something new. Yes, that was basically our case. There is a bigger report of this. I don't know, is it public? Yeah, it's public, and there's a lot more explanations what we did and how did we actually do technically those things and so on. But yeah, thank you.
Thank you, Riku. We have time for one question. Juho.
Yes, thank you. I wanted to ask you, since this was a rather successful project in showcasing the FD architecture and how it works, how do you see the scalability of this in the future?
Did you say scalability? Yeah, okay. So it is sort of, yeah, now I'm repeating myself, but it's about the data quality and the sources. I would say that if there would be a better match with, for example, commercial documents like CMR would have sort of HS codes and so on. If we have same rules in transport industry, what do companies have in customs, that would be extremely scalable. So we have a good basic idea, but the step from industrial parties to commercial transport parties, that link is missing.
Thank you. Thank you, Riku.
Thank you.
And I think that goes what Tommi also said, that we should have this common data like foundation, which should be kind of the foundation for all other applications. But yes, it takes some time that we have that kind of semantic data available. But now, next we have Karri Rantasila from Lassila Tikanoja. Karri will put together logistics, digitalization, and circular economy. Let's see what comes out now.
All right, thank you, Lasse. Very nice to be here and see some old friends from some years back. It has been a while since I've been privileged to talk this prestige audience both in here in Botta as well as online. Lasse mentioned that I'm talking about the logistics digitalization opportunities for the circular economy operator. I probably missed the part logistics. I'm a little bit relating on that one as well, but also to give you a little flavor like how the sort of like the waste management operator sees also the digitalization as a part of our customers' experience. I've been working with the Lassila Tikanoja for the last 10 years, now leading our account management and the segment sales with our circular economy operations. As you can see, we are usually, the first thing that comes in mind when it comes to Lassila Tikanoja is the waste collection trucks. We do a lot of different things, but those are the sort of like the business cars that are moving along our roads, and usually people tend to see Lassila Tikanoja mostly as a waste management service provider. Actually, to be honest, we are the second biggest transportation company in Finland. We have more than 2,000 vehicles, registered vehicles, also some, of course, work machines there, but we do have a lot of fleet. Just few numbers from the L&T, from the logistics perspective, so to say. We have the turnover of roughly 770 million euros. We are actually most likely we will be dividing between two companies, two publicly listed companies from the beginning of the next year if our shareholder meeting will pledge that one. So we're going to be in future two companies. The other one is concentrating on the circular economy services, covering the waste management, hazardous waste, process cleaning, and things which are related to something to deal with the raw materials. And the other part of the company, the facility services, is concentrating more on traditional cleaning and facility maintenance services. I'm representing the circular economy business, and as we like to see the situation, we are not only the waste management company, but we are more sort of like collecting raw materials and try to get that sort of like full loop of circular economy in action. Then from the logistics perspective, maybe a little bit more, we have, as I said, we have more than 2,000 registered vehicles. Roughly 800 of those are heavy-duty vehicles and work machines, so the rest of those are more like personal vehicles that are used mainly with the facility services, meaning the vans and just like regular cars. We have some 50,000 company customers, corporate customers in Finland and Sweden. The majority of those are in Finland. And to give you a flavor like how much logistics we do actually need is that we do empty more than 12 million containers per year. So containers doesn't mean those TEU containers, the shipping containers, but more of the trash bins and trash containers and different kind of collection machines, so to say. Of course, the climate is a very important thing for us. We have quite strict targets on how we are making our carbon footprint decreasing in the coming years. At the same time, we try to increase our carbon handprint, so meaning those carbon CO2 savings that we can create our customers by keeping things circulating and kind of like avoid the CO2 emissions. We aim to be the net zero by 2045. Might sound like a sort of like big time span, but to keep in mind, we still have a lot of heavy-duty vehicles, for example, that we don't have currently we don't have the completely carbon CO2-free options, how to use those ones. But we are well on the way. We got our CO2 emissions 2024 by 13%. So of course, it's getting harder and harder all the time. But we do have a lot of different kind of solutions that we can still make things better. Of course, because we are collecting the waste, or as we call the raw material, the recycling rate is very important for us. So that means the rate that when we are collecting the different kind of waste streams, how well we can circulate those back to the circulation. And currently we are with all our customers, and we have a lot of different kind of customers, we are roughly about 60%, and our target for 2030 is 70%. And of course you need to understand that there are some things that cannot be circulated at this moment. Maybe in the future when technology is better, we also can increase that by that mean. What kind of waste we are collecting or raw material? We control roughly 660,000 tons of different waste streams. This consists both general waste as well as hazardous waste streams. And the four biggest is the paper and cardboard. And now when you think, of course, the paper is going down all the time, and there's not that many let's say not that many locations that we are collecting paper many times a week, for example, nowadays. But at the same time, the amount of the cardboard we are collecting is increasing all the time. And of course, thanks to web shopping and these kind of things, the cardboard is the material that also the households as well as logistics companies are producing more and more. Then of course the traditional household waste, mixed waste, bio-waste are big for us. Construction waste of course depends on what is the activity level of the construction. But these are the biggest waste streams that we are collecting, and of course those can be mainly returned to circulation. Of course the mixed waste is something that is used a lot of generating the energy as well nowadays. So all the big power plants, municipal power plant companies, they are using mixed waste as a fuel for them. Then a few words about what we are doing with our fleet nowadays. So as I mentioned, we have roughly 800 heavy-duty vehicles operating, and currently these are last year numbers, so currently it's about 60 of those are considered as low-emission heavy-duty vehicles. So these are the ones that are using advanced technologies or the advanced fuels to be sort of like low-emission fuels. And as I said, these require a lot of energy. If you think about, for example, those pressure cleaning vehicles or the machines that we are using in the process industry factories to clean up the pipes, for example, those can take up to 200 liters of gas per hour when they're operating. So you can imagine like how much energy do we need to get things rolling. And unfortunately, at the moment, we don't see that the electrification, for example, these ones, is coming in the near-term future. So we still need to use a lot of petrol, gasoline. Of course, the one option that we are employing a lot is using the so-called renewable diesel, for example. But when it comes to light-duty vehicles, then of course the electrification is already there, and as there's a side mark in Sweden where we don't have that many heavy-duty vehicles, the 84% of the whole fleet is now electrical cars. So we are well on the road to also in the electrification. This is of course only one part of how to make the sustainability better in our operations. And actually, the quite big part of that comes from the economical driving style and route optimization. Now we come a little bit closer to digitalization of our things. We have been having this sort of like the software that is giving the feedback for the drivers and of course for the supervisors constantly. It has been running for almost 10 years now. Of course, it has improved also a lot, but we do get a lot of diagnostics from our cars and how the drivers are driving. And according to our experiences, we can actually cut the fuel consumption tens of percents based on how the machines are operated and how the cars are driven. So there's a huge opportunity in that, and we have seen that also as an incentive for our workers. So we actually pay euro incentives for those drivers and those employees and those units that are doing the best with the economical driving style. Then the route optimization. Our sort of like the biggest challenge that I have also been talking with a lot of the CaaS Nordic and ITS Finland member companies that are specialized in these things is the fact that our roads are constantly changing. So if you think, for example, when we are collecting waste, we have a lot of customers, we have a lot of contracts, and those are changing day by day. Also, what kind of containers we are picking up from there. So let's take an example, for example, construction site. It might be at the beginning that there are containers, and at one point they need there to have some other collecting methods, and we cannot drive with the same vehicles, all of those. So some of the also the collecting bins or collecting containers, they require a specific kind of vehicle with the crane or with the winch or these kind of things. So we need to sort of like, when we are optimizing the routes, we need to also take in consideration the restrictions with our own equipment as well as the location. So for example, here in the city center, we cannot drive with the bigger trucks. We need to have those ones that can access the inner yards, for example, or tight spaces. So there's a lot of like variables all the time, and our locations are changing all the time. So it's kind of like it needs to be dynamically optimization all the time, and we do have a team of roughly 10 logistics professionals that might be able to give you a better picture, but we have a lot of like people still doing the routing. So everything is not automated yet. Yep, and actually these are the things that I already mentioned. So the importance of the human factor in our business is quite big. Even though the digitalization and the technologies, they can make things smoother for us, there's still a lot of things that the driver or our worker needs to decide. What kind of route he's taking, there's flexibility in that, and of course we try to have more and more sophisticated the softwares for this one, but currently there's still a big sort of like factor is our people. Then of course how we can technically improve our mechanical equipment. So the mechanics of course takes a lot of power as well, and that's something that by using different kind of solutions, for example when we have pressure cleaning, and now we are not talking about those household carriers, but rather sort of like the big trucks that have a pressure cleaning equipment. So, for example, we have the new equipment has a gearbox, which sounds a little bit sort of like, is there something new about that? We have had a gearbox in the car for ages, but it's now only coming to that we can sort of like shift based on the purpose, like how the actual mechanical equipments are working. But of course, we try to get the efficiency up all the time. We try to have more locations with fewer trucks. We can collect the different raw materials with the same truck, and of course, for our point of view, also the maintenance repair costs are something that we are currently monitoring all the time. So over 90% of our new equipment is constantly online monitored, like how they need to be maintained and repaired in order to get the sort of like the fixing the problems less and being proactive in the maintenance bigger. One thing that it would be a good thing for us and for the environment and everything is that we would be able to collect the waste nighttime. So at the moment we cannot, for example, even though it would be quite logical when the roads are empty, we would collect the waste, but at the moment it's not possible due to the restrictions of the cities. So of course there's noise coming on that, but as you all know, as logistics professionals, like also the distribution would be much easier in the nighttime, and in some areas I guess it's already possible. But with waste management, it's kind of like no-go kind of thing. People are too scared about the noises that these mechanical equipments are doing. So our own fleet is a big thing. Then of course the other thing that I want to mention here, maybe some of you might be familiar with this one, but of course when we're talking about waste management, also the regulation is there. And all the big companies, they need to report their waste management, their CO2 things, and of course this is something the regulation is going further all the time. We do have a tailored solution for this one, so you can let's say that roughly half of our orders already come from the digital service channels. We do have a portal on that called the Oma LNT that you can easily schedule your own pickups, for example. So this is fully integrated to our ERP system, so it means that when the customers goes to this interface, the online interface, and for example requesting new collection bin or request the new pickup or wants to reschedule the pickup, it goes directly to our ERP system. So it's of course the huge cost-saving thing for us that there's no need to have the customer service agent there. And of course it's convenient for the customer as well. So roughly half of all orders already comes through the digital channels, and our reporting is fully digital, so you can get all the waste-related reports from our portal called Ympäristönetti, and that also applies to these kind of like regulation-based reporting things that the companies, especially those that have the environmental permit, they need to report at least once a year to administrations about their waste streams, and that's something that you can get from our portal as well. Yep, and just one sort of like still the sustainability point of view slide. So as you can see, the big part of our own emissions in the middle, so the scope 1 and 2, the big part, 97% of our emissions comes from the transportation. So that's our own fleet basically, which is generating some 97% of our own scope 1 and 2 emissions. Then of course, if you take also the supply chain emissions, because we are using somewhat much subcontracting as well, so there's a big part is the contractor fuels, and of course, because we are buying services, transportation services as well, the part of our sort of like transport-related the emissions is also in the scope 3 in the production services box. But still a lot of things to do. We have been being sort of like front runner in Finland when it comes to sustainability thinking, and of course we are fully compliant with the UN initiatives as well as the CSRD reporting, and that's sort of like big part of our let's say company image as well. That's about the L&T.
Thank you, Karri. Don't go. Questions there?
Thank you. Since you own a lot of the value chain in waste, you operate and own it both. Will it give you a control in the future to transfer into waste to energy company to some extent? Maybe transferring your assets into biogas, probably, utilizing into your own fleet. And the second question, what about the electric vehicles, our cars, batteries, and the circular economy related to that is a big question in the future. You might own the infrastructure. Are you going to invest in that?
Yeah. Well, good questions, both of those. First of all, the sort of like waste to energy kind of business has traditionally been in Finland the municipal energy companies, because they have the distribution networks, the Kaukolämpö, the district heating, and also actually the biogas is that they are also the companies in that area, but some of the companies are also owned by the municipal waste management companies, so to say. As of now, L&T hasn't been active on that. We do have our own terminals as well as our treating plants, so we are treating the plastic for ourselves. We are also baling of course, the cardboard and paper, and then selling those to market. So we are doing a sort of like a hazardous waste. We are also we are treating both the oily waters, the happoja emäksiä, as well as we are collecting the car batteries. So if we are starting about the batteries, so of course we all know that the value chain of the electric vehicle batteries is still somewhat undeveloped when it comes to recycling. Of course, then again, the traditional car batteries, the start batteries, so to say, those we are already collecting, and there are also treatment plants in Finland, I think 1 or 2. Our competitors are operating those ones. So of course, I think that is the thing that needs to be solved in the future, and I believe that there was one demo about the car recycling loop as well, so maybe that is something that those players that are already in the car recycling, because now the battery is getting more and more vital part of the vehicle, so maybe that's also the part that those companies are checking. So pretty political answer about the investments, but as of now we haven't planned to go to the waste to energy producer. But of course that's probably one thing that someone is considering already now.
And now when Karri put the pass on my stick, so yes, the Dell platform which is there, we should be in production with the electric vehicle battery reporting on 1st of January.
Waste transportation is quite specific area, and you have almost in monopoly situation in Finland, which is very nice position. Congratulations. But the question is, in next year will be this waste shipment regulation in force across the Europe, and I would like to ask what is your opinion about that and the centralized system for those waste shipments that is coming up. Nobody has seen it yet, but you have prepared that. What is your opinion about that?
So the waste shipment, you mean that the like intra-Europe, kind of like between the countries shipments?
Yes.
Or?
Yes.
Yeah. Okay. I wish that we would have a monopoly, because I'm still leading the sales, but it doesn't feel like we have monopoly. But maybe in the future. I think roughly our market share in waste management is it depends how you calculate that, but roughly 33% or something like that. Of course, there are bigger players in Finland also. The NG Group, the former Fortum, as well as Verdis and Remeo are quite sort of like nationwide players. And then we of course have a lot of like these local transportation companies that have few trucks, for example. They might be part of their portfolio. But the shipping the waste between the countries, I'm not sure if I can give you L&T's sort of like opinion on this one, because maybe someone else would be better to answer on that. But my personal opinion is that that considering where EU is going and where Finland is going, we are talking about the circular economy. And in my point of view, and maybe this is also L&T's point of view, is that we should be able to get all the raw material streams into real circulation. Of course, the burning the waste is better than putting that to landfill. And we need the energy. But now the situation is to be, in a way that we have been, because now there's so many new power plants has been opened, and Finland has been needed to ship things, for example, from Southern Europe. So if you think about that, like we are trying to cut the emissions, and at the same time we need to create the energy, and so do we sort of like have we had some kind of like long-term plan on that when we have started to build those new energy plants? Because of course then when you're building the energy plant for waste to energy, it's a little bit different. The fuel mix is different. And also the materials in the boilers are different, so you cannot easily just say that like now we start to burn, for example, forest-based energy there. So we are kind of like there's big investments have been made, and they need to fulfill their supply chain, and at least like our point of view as L&T is that all the raw materials or the waste is kind of like it's quite valuable for us, and it should be returned as a sort of like original use, not burning in somewhere. It also comes to plastic, for example. There's good sort of like combustion value in plastic when you are burning that. But it doesn't solve the fact that when you are burning that it's still fossil-based in a way. So I think there's a little bit sort of like, it's overlapping a little bit.
Thank you, Karri. Next, we started to talk already about we started to discuss already about the communities, and now we have a good example from Sweden, Virtual Watchtower, and Michael Lind.
So, hello everyone. I love data sharing. I've been doing digitalization in 4 different modes of transport for the last 16 years now, I think it is. Entered a situation where I was doing a project on future airports, developing Stockholm Arlanda as a world-class airport, so we have the flight situation. I came across something called ACDM, Airport CDM. I thought that, wow, this is a fantastic invention, how we can coordinate so that we keep the flights as little time as possible in the air. And then I felt, let's do the same thing with the maritime sector. So I stepped into this office and I said that, okay, hey guys, can we now see if we can have a committed planned time of arrival or targeted planned time of arrival for ships? And people just laughed at me. You know, planes cannot anchor in the air, but ships can. And then I probably visited, 200 ports in my lifetime, and I've always come and said that, hey guys, I have a tanker, I'm heading towards your port, I will be here in 2 weeks, can I book a slot? We take you as you come. And then I realized that after all these years, we brought a standard, an ISO standards to the world. We were the leaders of port CDM. We have implemented together with Trafikverket something called Railway CDM. We shared 800 million timestamps to enhance the punctuality and predictability of railway in Sweden. Very fantastic, but at the end of the day, who is going to drive the change? So therefore, I stepped into the office of PSA. Do you know PSA? It's one of the biggest, largest terminal operators in the world, in Singapore. About 100 million TEUs. They are handling 52 terminals in the world, and I said, I want your data. And they looked at me as I was totally stupid. Michael Lind, coming from RISE, Research Institute of Sweden, 3,500 employees. Michael, of course we will not share our data with you. Hey guys, I have a company that I'm working with, and the company is called Stora Enso. And Stora Enso has a lot of containers passing through your ports. They want to know what the heck is going on with their containers. Ah, they said, we are the logistical service provider of the future. Of course we will provide that. And that was a starting point. And if you remember, we had a situation where TradeLens was closed down as a visibility platform for cargo because there was no money in it. So therefore we said, let's see if we can try another approach. So here is a small video that we produced in order to show the vision about VWT. Can I have sound somewhere? Is that possible? Okay, I'm back. Sorry, guys. Mm-hmm.
Sorry, we have to press here, I think. Is it the next one?
The Virtual Watchtower Network, the VWT, is a solution designed to raise visibility in end-to-end supply chains. As a cargo owner-driven, port-centric partnership, the Virtual Watchtower is a machine-powered solution to secure on-time deliveries of orders to customers all over the world. Here's an example of how it works. 10 containers from Northern Forest destined for Australia have been shipped by rail to Oulu in Finland, where they are loaded onto the feeder ship Hara 5. Cargo is exposed to risks. Ideally, all the parties concerned can monitor the merchandise moving from origin to destination. Hara 5 has lost some time in a storm. The ship's Global Fleet Operations Centre in Copenhagen is updated on the situation. If they stick to the original plan, many containers will miss their connection at Zeebrugge. The captain of the Hara 5 and the Operations Centre collaboratively assess the situation, and the captain decides to follow the machine-powered VWT recommendation and increase the ship's passage speed to make the planned arrival time. On arrival at Zeebrugge, the personnel in the port's control room monitor the reloading of the 10 containers onto the Blue Ocean, the ship that will deliver the cargo to Sydney via Singapore. An update on the successful port visit is delivered to the Operations Centre in Copenhagen, and in turn to the ports and each cargo owner. On the way to Singapore, a new incident emerges, a potential wait and delay in the Suez Canal. The VWT immediately identifies the cargo and the affected cargo owners. The VWT flags and alerts the potentially impacted parties. In a virtual situation room hosted in the VWT, the network's members from different organizations and places across the globe discuss the incident instantly based on analysis provided by the VWT. On this occasion, an update arrives that the situation has been resolved. After an on-time arrival in Singapore, the Blue Ocean's reloading of cargo has been monitored and shared with all parties involved thanks to the VWT. The ship is on schedule for its destination, Sydney. Whether your cargo travels by sea, land or air, the VWT is a new way of ensuring sustainable, safe, secure and on-time transport. We thank our partners for supporting the Virtual Watchtower project. Contact RISE or A-Star IHPC if you're interested to join.
1 hour of our, it's very fantastic to stand here because Oulu is in Finland and VTT is on board this project, and we also have Fintraffic on board, etc. that is also present here. So I'm super happy for this, and VWT is also one of the foundations in the eFTI platform that we are constructing now as well. So everything, I feel that I'm in the same club. You saw the logo plate. I will come back to that because I have a problem. And we are recruiting new partners every week now into this. I'm just formulating. The latest one is Komatsu, Komatsu Forest, which is a new transport buyer as well, and that will be announced tomorrow or beginning of next week. So, what is the vision about? The vision is to become the most used primary data sharing tool in the world. And all of us know that the data visibility industry is a billionaire industry, right? It's a lot of money in it, and we as research institutes do, of course, not want to compete in that. But we also hear stories that there is a lack of quality in the data. So what we said is that, is there a possibility to drive so that we, through a community-based effort, that we get more data from a primary source? Such as, for example, we just heard about a truck company here now. Can we get more planned time of arrivals and departures so that we actually can coordinate our efforts in the self-organizing ecosystem that constitute transports? So what we wanted to do is to establish a collaborative ecosystem and also a digital tool. And let me talk a little bit about that. So the approach is shipper-driven because we think that it is we will get attention. I mean, if I look at you now, for example, Finnair here, we will get attention if we have players like H&M, IKEA, Tetra Pak, Stora Enso, etc., engaging in this dialogue. So we constructed something that became a co-design by the global logistic community or supply chain industry for the global supply chain industry with no ownership or no, stakes in that, rather that everything is co-owned by this community. It is terminal-centric because it's very hard to tell a plane or a ship to turn and take another route because there are so many. I mean, think about it, a Super Panamax vessel, 25,000 containers. And if we think about H&M's, which is one of our partners, they have like 60 or 70,000 containers on a yearly basis. Of course, that is 3 ships, but they do not only use one ship or 3 ships for their shipments. They use many ships. It utilizes the distributed digital infrastructure. We coin this as VWTnet. It's built on something called Twin, which is a public good infrastructure, coined by World Economic Forum, Chartered Institute of Export and International Trade, Trademark Africa, etc. So a number of very, very big players. We want to utilize the positive network effects, meaning that we follow the shipments. So the only ones that are have the possibilities to look into the data is the ones that concern specific shipments from the shipper. We are proposing a neutral, not-for-profit governance structure. I think that Jan mentioned it before, that we are going into operations and building on this federated approach to a digital data sharing. So the value proposition is a trusted and secure gatherer and distributor of primary data related to shipments end-to-end. You provide some data and you get a lot of data back, meaning that we do not want to enter the area of competing with CaaS, for example, or for competing with the Transporion, Descartes, Project 44, etc. You know these names probably. So, and here is how the community looks today. I didn't update because this came today with Komatsu, but here you see a number of different players, and I'm super happy to have players such as H&M on board, which is a little bit problematic. I was talking to them and saying that if you it's not taken for granted that you can use the logo. They are super happy about pushing this initiative. When it comes to Twin, this digital infrastructure, they have coined virtual watchtower as one of 4 important use cases that they are pushing. And this, what we're now also aiming for, is to support the transport of humanitarian aid to be overlooked by a virtual watchtower. So what do we do? How do we leverage this? We use the power of attorney. And we are on our way to get into standardizing an e-power of attorney issued by the shipper, together with DCSA, Digital Container Shipping Association. They are basically co-owning the digital standards for the big shipping lines. And by that, we hope that we can then replicate that for other industries as well. We do have a strong connection to IATA with one record via our efforts in Federated that we did before. We do push the collaborative decision-making as a way to drive more information and establish shared visibility. We do have a couple of services where we are trying to generate more data. One is called Shoutout, where we basically are saying that, hey, we are standing in front of an apartment house, and we want to know who knows something more about this shipment. So we call it lane performance analysis. And let's see if that works. We also do microshare, where we are doing a lot of scanning of QR codes, which is a typical thing that you do in Asia, for example. We do have a continuous growth of relevant actors and also complementary use cases such as eFTI, where we will utilize the itinerary that is established by VWT or planned and actual times and estimated times of arrival and departure, and then that would be used as a basis to contextualize the eFTI information, or the electronic freight transport information. We do continuous monitoring. We are offering our shippers to monitor 10 shipments per week to identify disruptions and also calculating emissions. And here you see it's very interesting. This is just a snapshot when we are looking into the ports or the port network, and you see here out of 735 shipments, they visited 260 ports. It's incredible how the footprint of those shippers actually exercises or monitoring actually spreading very much throughout the world. We do this in a very intense way. We have today 62 partners, or 63 tomorrow, represented in 14 countries. We have 40 prospects. We have been very, very highly visible in the international trade press. I think that we actually have more than 50 articles. Now we mentioned 45 here. We have sent 146 weekly updates to the community. We have had a number of different workshops, and we are also co-crafting this technical infrastructure by a number of different technical providers involved. So, just to mention 3 different application areas that we also see here now. One is the Global Supply System Dashboard, which is basically the World Economic Forum's initiative of trying to provide surveillance of humanitarian transports, or transport for humanitarian aid. We have tried to connect actually how bad digital data sharing actually results in loss of lives. There's about 8,000 to 9,000 people that are dying from starvation every day. And think about if we do not then even share the data on when the ship is going to arrive or when the truck is going to arrive, etc. So that means that you cannot coordinate. Not good. We are aiming for, and this was a very interesting story, one of our biggest partners, they told me that, Michael, I don't want to know. They have about 330,000 containers that they are transporting on a yearly basis. I don't want to know when things are working fine. I'm not sure if I want to know if there is a disruption, because that creates a headache for me. But if you could provide a service that actually is doing the service recovery automatically, then we will be very happy. So we are planning to make what we call the Baltic Sea augmented planning ecosystem, which could be super cool, and we would of course welcome any partners in this region that we are meeting now to join forces with us. And then the third thing is eFTI that I have to mention here, and I think is very important. And I think that from a 7th of July 2027 perspective, I think it's super good that we can actually make a push of what I see an eFTI platform as a conglomerate of different capabilities, where VWT would be one of them. So, to conclude, we do have VWT-Net that will build upon twin functionalities that will be established by the end of this year. We do have end-to-end primary data capturing capabilities that is continuously being developed. We want to show that if you are Transporion, if you are Pagera, if you are Prodi44, whoever, that is building very much on their supply chain visibility capabilities on AI and machine learning, we want to show that if we get access to more primary data, life will be much easier. You know, when we closed down the Suez Canal, how much data did we have about going around Africa? Or when we closed the window over Russia, how much data did we have on how things would perform by taking a flight from Helsinki to Singapore, for example? It would have been much, much better if we could have direct access to the different actors that are then telling us things in different ways. We do have a VWT app space, which I offer and invite everyone here to actually provide apps that could be enhanced based on access to more primary data. So in principle, you will access a DLT or a blockchain distributed ledger technology that is securing everything when it comes to data integrity, etc., to refine or to empower your apps that they become much better. And then we provide that kind of app space without having any concerns of the way that you are earning money on this. It is a public good that we are trying to establish to connect actors better. We are doing and setting up a VWT entity. We are at the moment in negotiation with one trust in England that have offered the possibilities for us to be hosted by them, which is a fantastic opportunity. And Heikura here, where are you there? He is involved in trying to maneuver and handle this situation. Sorry, DigiLogistic is also a very important partner, as well as Trafikverket to VWT. And we continue to grow the community. Everybody's invited. Anyone that wants to see and co-design something that would be of value for the global supply chain community would be great. Across most of transport in the end-to-end chain. Thanks a lot.
Thank you, Michael. This was interesting. We have time for one question. Somebody, any questions?
Yeah, if I rightly understood, it's more about a global situational awareness, but you are not actually going so much into the freight data, so that's kind of a separate issue. We know that there's ICS2, for example, now in maritime also coming, so a lot of this data is collected, but do I rightly perceive that it's not now in this concept?
So, a good question here. If I take for granted that me as a transport buyer, I know which container number my stuff is in, right? That means that I do not need to share any data about my stuff. But what I'm interested in is the movement of the containers, so the arrival times and departure times throughout the different nodes, and then I can make those calculations. And I think that is the most important thing here, because I mean, what we see here, when Kuhn & Nagel place an assignment on MSC, they do not tell who's the owner of the container. But you as a shipper, or you as a transport buyer, you would know it. The weight, you can calculate yourself the emissions if you just compile the different things that are coming from the different involved transport operators. So we take and that's a very good point, Matti, we take a very minimalistic approach to the data sharing. Do not share unnecessary data.
So I think this goes in line like data stays as a source and then just share those identifier information, and with that you can get more data if needed.
Exactly.
Thank you. I think we will have plenty of discussions during the cocktails.
All of you are invited, that's important.
Yeah. So join this community. And now we have final industry outlook presentation from GoSwift, or actually G-Scan. Madis, welcome.
Hello from my side. I will tell you about this kind of a glimpse of a future. I'm the board member of GoSwift, but at the same time also the founder of G-Scan. The G-Scan is kind of a spin-off from GoSwift, and the GS is kind of indicating the GoSwift. That's how it started. So we were not so good to make some new names, so we just made this kind of a GS and scan, so that's easy way to make the new names. So basically, the company of a G-Scan is kind of a leading radical shift to safe, secure, accurate and automatic muon flux technology using passive natural muon flux. So it means that what we are doing is actually making those kind of scanners and the technology which is using natural radiation, and based on this natural radiation we can scan everything what is inside this scanning or scanner. So basically we can see the things as like X-ray, but the X-ray gives you only this kind of a shadow image. So in essence it is reflecting or kind of giving you information which of those particles have been observed to the object and which have been passed through. So it is giving sort of a density of the material, which is not the case in our technology. Muons as such are going through of each of those things, even from the 2 meters of aluminium, 20 kilometers down to the earth. It is even going through your body at the moment. Even you are sitting here, like 10,000 of muons going through your body, and it is not hurting you as a living person. So I just give you sort of example how it works. There is cocaine hidden to this load, and by the X-ray, you literally don't see anything. You are not able to detect it, as it is just one big black kind of a shipment. But by the technology of muons, you are able to detect also the elements in atom level. So in fact, the cocaine inside this shipment is a little bit different in chemical formula, so it is possible to detect it in our technology. So it is possible to say that in this place, in this shipment, there is something different. And definitely we can already say also what is the ingredient and the material inside in element level. So that's the beauty of technology. I can just give you sort of a lesson of physics. If I was first in listening the scientists, as we were kind of trying to understand it, as we are businessmen, we don't do the science, at least me. So we were hearing it, and we didn't understand anything. So there are protons in our atmosphere. There are some sort of cosmic rays coming to the atmosphere, which is hitting protons and which is creating those muons. So this is kind of an elementary thing which in physics. And then they are going through or hitting to the Earth, and their life cycle is very small, like milliseconds, but it is still enough to understand what it is exactly inside there. So basically the main idea, what I'm saying is that what we are doing is just to give you this one, it's maybe better to explain. So we put the detector or scanner up and down, so we can measure if a muon is coming in and getting out, and then we are measuring the angle. So basically, we can give you exact understanding based on the change of angle what one muon has made, what's inside this object, let's say. So basically in element level, so in atom level. It takes time because we are reliable for the natural sources. That's the minus, let's say, that compared to the X-ray, you can push as much as those elements or the particles as much you want, but at this moment there is also the threat of radiation, but in our case we just need to rely on the natural sources, so we basically need to wait until it is enough data and then makes it possible to detect already the object itself. So there is like two main measurement principles in our case. One is that we just put some of those detection plates or the machines underground, which was the case in this one of those nuclear engines, which was measured in Estonia. It was during the Soviet times. We had this kind of a submarine training center in Baltic Sea, and it was left behind after the Soviet army left from Estonia, so they just put the concrete on top of that, and no one knew what is exactly the shape and measures of those, what is inside this concrete, and at that we did this kind of exercise, and we made these pictures in 3D images, millimeter basis. So we could exactly tell which is the part. And the second and much quicker way to measure things is if we put one scanner on top and another one down, so we can much quicker say what's inside and make it sort of a quicker analysis, which is usable for the ports, for the customs, for any kind of security services or whatsoever. Even in the medical field, even here, wherever. So basically you can't make it in a way that you can make it in a way that you can hide it, even some two of those buildings. We have also measured the buildings itself. So why it is important? Because of the problem is definitely there. The cocaine and all the narcotics is coming more and more to the market in a way, and this is kind of stocking in many of those ports, and it is the biggest issue that no one is actually able to detect and make this kind of measurement in a quick manner. This kind of a technology might could be the one which will provide this solution for this kind of thing. So now we can say we have already made a factory in Tartu, which I will demonstrate afterwards. There is one video. And we have finished the first product in this manner. So we have made this kind of product which is able to detect and see inside the sea container. There is no radiation hazard, like I told you. It penetrates all things, whichever it is. It is automated materials detection and classification, so it means that we can also compare what is in the declaration with the one which is in real. So we can say that, okay, this is declared and this is actually the thing which is carried. So it is automated. We can also make it at the moment as a 1 minute detection and discover bigger, let's say, bigger shipments in, let's say, prohibited materials, whichever it is. We can teach the algorithms to detect whichever kind of material. And there is pretty low operational expenditures. Then there is parameters. I think I don't go too deep on this topic. It is the picture, how it looks like, and it is definitely something you can imagine already that it is at the moment made in a way that 1 to 2 meters, but it can be modularized and you can make it as a kind of a Lego. You can put them together as many you want. So basically this is something you can already imagine, and we are definitely working on it to make it smaller, and the size is actually just because we were thinking that it is the proper size to make those things to happen. It can be it can be in different size and different shape, so it's not such a big issue to always think that it is only size what it can be. So we can say that actually it started 2016 already. Then we started the company in 2018. The G-Scan started. Then in 2024 we deployed this first national prison security scanner. So basically it was used for the prisoners' packages scanning, very successful. As you know, there is many of those trucks brought to the prison all the time, and you can't even imagine how it can be very easy to find it. Then there is 2025, where this year we finished this silent border, which I will demonstrate as well. Next year we will finish the Cosmoport, which is mobility kind of or mobile scanner, which can be used in different situations. You can just take it to as like a trailer and lift it to somewhere and start measuring. And in the future, I believe there will be Silent Border 2. I hope that it will be successful, so we can start some sort of piloting in ports and border checkpoints and whichever places which are relevant to those scanners. So here are some of those companies with whom we have made it happen, and we have quite a big package already of those different patents and many more coming. And basically this is the main topic I wanted to tell you, but now I will try to find it is working. Okay, it is not like that. Let me try to put it to here.
Silent border is quite something different. We have been discussing in the customs with many, many different countries that what could be the technology that could replace X-rays in the future. And we have been having this discussion like 15 years already.
Silent Border project helps to introduce a new paradigm next to X-ray based technology, and that is muon tomography, which is safer than X-ray technology because it is using the very same flux that is omnipresent at all times. So how it all works is that we put the container into the scanner and we register the cosmic ray paths before and after the objects that are inside of the volume, and we do some mathematical magic and we get the image. And this image gives us a general understanding of what objects are in there, but also what materials have been hidden inside of the container. That is extremely revolutionary compared to X-rays, where we only see the images of shadows of the objects?
I think the way that Silent Border project can impact the world is eventually to replace the X-ray scanning because it's harmless. I think it's going to be cheaper at the end of the day. It's more maintenance-free equipment. So I think that's going to change the world, but it will take time.
Silent Border project is a true European success story. It took years of dedicated work, which brought together 10 different partners from across Europe to make this muography-based security application machine possible. Silent Border, non-intrusive cargo checks powered by cosmic rays.
Okay, thank you.
Thank you, Madis. One short question, and if you have more during the cocktails, please discuss with Madis, but one short if somebody has. If not, then we rush on the panel discussion, and I invite Matti, who is hosting this panel today, to come on the stage. No, we don't have a break. Now we have a panel.
All right. Thank you. As we are a bit late on the schedule, let's start by inviting our panelists. First, Jan Bergstrand from Trafikverket. Welcome. Jan is a senior analyst of Trafikverket and Sweden's representative in the EU's Digital Transport and Logistics Forum, and of course, federated and FT4all leader, as we know. Welcome, Jan. Thank you. And then, if we can have Janne Huhtamäki from Traficom. And Janne is a key figure in Traficom. The FT4EU project was really coming from his hands. We wouldn't be here without Janne's initiative. Please, welcome. And then, third, we will have Jurgis Adomatvicius from Bunasta, Lithuania. So Jurgis is, shall I say, rock star of logistics in this area. He's leading, of course, Bunasta in customs clearance across the borders, but also in Transport Innovation Association, the key figure. And then Kristi Arkula from Estonia Ministry of Economic Affairs and Communications. And Kristi is a specialist in digital wallets and also a project leading a project called WeBuild in Estonia and in EU. Thank you. And then we have from Latvia, Ania Novikova, and from Latvia Ministry of Transport, and in the Services Department and also chairing the Public Transport Council, driving transformation in mobility and cross-border transport solutions.
Sitting in the right order. We have to change the order. Lithuania, Estonia, and Latvia.
Let's overcomplicate the situation. Then you can. You need to.
Baltic Sea team here. We are missing Denmark, so we tried, but unfortunately we were not successful there. So one chair is missing, but otherwise, welcome everybody. The theme of the day is strengthening transportation and digital logistics infrastructure in the Baltic Sea region amid disruption. We heard in the beginning of the day how disruption is getting more and more severe, and we are all aware about those challenges in the area. So we will be discussing today how we can tackle this challenge. And basically, we have a question for each and every one of you. So let's start with Jan. So we heard about your ongoing projects, but we'd like to understand what role you see eFTI or the other digital tools playing in enabling the real-time visibility of cargo flows across the Baltic Sea region.
Digital visibility, we saw some example here with virtual watchtower. It can be used, of course, for the planning, but also for the operative movement. And you can have, of course, a much smoother flow with visibility, and in Baltic you have a lot of cross-border issues maybe, and that is always nodes where you have to change transport mode, for instance, or others, and then digital tools is there, and eFTI, for instance, is one of those tools that can make it transparent and efficient. So that's one thing, and I know there is also this more active with alerts, etc., that also can help when there is smaller deviations or incidents. But then we come up to the higher scale, but that's for later, maybe in the discussion with resilience and such things. But now I'm more into the operative advantages and include eFTI in that picture.
Thank you, Jan. And Janne, you're basically from Finland, and Finland has most of the transport going through the harbors, so we are really an island, more now than ever. How do you see the Baltic Sea ports and the role of eFTI in their logistic systems? How can we improve resilience in Finland using eFTI and digitalization?
Yes, we can see quite many activities in ports and around ports, also regarding many different kind of digitalization projects. First of all, ports are developing data management and improving their the process for smooth cargo flow, making better use of the infrastructure in the harbors, but also at the same time they are implementing this regulation regarding digitalization, like eFTI regulation and also the maritime single window regulation. And both of them include information about cargo, but also other port operations. And that facilitates new kind of digital services to manage different kind of interruptions and disturbances. So it will give a better tools to also manage these disruptions and disturbances and to react when it is necessary.
Thank you. Well, for Jyrkis, I was sort of tempted to let you speak more freely, because Lithuania is one of the strongest logistics companies in this area, with I think around 10 or 12% of your cross-national product being in logistics, and you have maybe the biggest or few of the biggest transportation companies in the area. How do you see from Lithuanian point of view, what are the challenges in digitalization of logistics? Where would you like to have the focus? How would you improve?
Okay, the main problem is that we are discussing during all day long, so the data. The main thing that I do not see in this room, the producers. We talked about the wood, we talked about the different type of products, but they are not participating in the logistics. So it looks like we are, transport companies, freight forwarders are responsible for move the shipments, but we are not implementing inside the producers who are really the data owners of what it is. Of course, Europe Union is doing a lot without, now we discussed about, I don't know, do you know about digital product passport, which is coming. Maybe it will help us a little bit, but actually what we are trying to do, but to implement the real data holders, and it can be at the same time exporter and at the same time importer, because sometimes if you do by sea, you mostly the importer have all the data, yeah. So the biggest issue is data, and we have to provide. I mean, so logistics have to work with them, and owners of this data is producer or importer, and they are not working with us at all.
Yeah, thank you. That's actually something we have started to address also in Finland, because we have realized the same thing, and we heard that Stora Enso was sort of game changer also for the maritime area. Thank you. Kristi, if we consider the Baltic Sea area authorities, what kind of collaboration do you think we could provide with eFTI and the tools to improve our situation in the area?
Yeah, thank you. Very important aspect of it. And in my understanding, in eFTI case, just adopting the legislation is only one element in this, but the big picture is much more complex. And my recommendation here is also to arise this political importance or the political awareness, and really to collaborate between the countries and to gather like-minded thinkers together, and maybe also to utilize the potential of cross-border projects, like in eFTI case shows that it very much builds the network and gathers the stakeholders around the table. But still, nevertheless, that kind of a political importance is very, very critical, because it needs to be aligned also with governmental treaties and its action plans and so on and so forth. And also those cross-border projects, I would like to highlight that it also offers like a good potential to pilot something, to test whether something works, whether it doesn't, and it gives additional knowledge to this maybe very traditional, straightforward policy making. So this is also a very good amendment. And if I recall back my own experience when I started to participate in digital logistics networks and discussions, every now and then we ended up in a situation where we were discussing how can we actually identify a company or identify the person who are related either with the company's representation rights or signatory rights. How can we identify the truck driver? And actually now also from the European Commission side and from the Digital Europe program, the project called We Build is being financed, and it is a business wallet project, and it actually addresses those same issues. So why I'm pointing this out here is that in my understanding it very well complements the eFTI scope with that kind of angle that has been missing. So it is only in a very starting phase at the moment, and it focuses on pilots, but still maybe good achievements will come out of that.
I'm sure there will be discussion later on about that. Thank you. And Anja, I know that Latvia is a strong member of NATO. You have a lot of collaboration there, and you probably are very sort of at the front line of these disruptions. How do you see that those recent disruptions, be it the drones or whatever, cyber attacks, how have they revealed gaps in our critical infrastructure? Have you seen, particularly related to logistics, are there major gaps that have come up in your experience?
Well, I can say that they have definitely revealed our vulnerabilities and detected ways we should improve our systems in many aspects. But at the same time, as we say for Ukraine, for instance, we are building back better, definitely. And that's what we are doing daily. And I see that currently we are improving our methods and our tools and our technology even faster than before. And I see that we are becoming more clutched together. Our forces are more joined than ever, and I'm very proud of it in a way. And it's both a professional pride and technological pride, and we're building this future faster, and it will bring us those benefits faster than we would think of. And one thing I would like to mention here, that I was listening to presenters today and speakers about
cybersecurity, about vulnerabilities, about different challenges we're facing daily, but I think it's very valuable to thank each other for the work we're doing daily for ensuring security and sustainability. So thank you all.
Thank you. And yep, we could have a few questions from the audience at this point, if you would like to address any of the members here. Okay. We can also do that at the break. But for all of you, I think that one final question I would like to all of you to answer, maybe starting from Jan again, that if we in this Baltic Sea area as nations would commit to one joint digital infrastructure upgrade in the upcoming 5 years, one joint digital infrastructure upgrade, what should it be? If we do something jointly, what would be the most meaningful thing we should do together? I know it's not an easy one, but if we want to collaborate, we need to have a vision.
One, okay. Yeah. I can be generous and go over, and I'll say Rail Baltica can be one very good investment.
Yes. Okay. Janne?
Yeah. Maybe I would like to raise one digital thing that, and it has something to do with data sharing. I think we could get the most benefit of creating a simple situational awareness data sharing model to inform the whole Baltic Sea area of the disturbances that occur, so that each actor could react as soon as possible to those disturbances, and in that way to make the best possible way to also discover from those and recover from those disturbances.
Okay. Sounds interesting. Michael is happy, I'm sure.
And that's very related to Michael's ideas.
Right. Jurgis?
My offer is every time to look what is happening all around us. Yeah. So till 2016, I was Holia. I had 18 trucks and doing international transportation, going abroad from Europe Union. And what I see, the thing is that customs now are building one digital data hub, and it will brings us in 2030 big help, because now my company is implemented in 9 countries, and we actually working in 20 countries. So just imagine how difficult for us is to have several different platforms and other stuff. So in transport and logistics, in Europe Union, we have to act as one as well. But the problem is that between Lithuania and Estonia or Latvia or Finland or Sweden, we have the different regulations, and we have to act, but we have to share not just about data, but about the regulations. So how in Europe Union we acting as one if we have totally different regulations? Latvia allows to come Kazakhs different quantity, Lithuania in different quantity, but we are one Europe. And now we are talking about sustainability, about pollution and all other stuff. So my thing is, my main idea is we have to build one digital logistic data hub as well.
Okay, interesting. I'm sure we will be discussing that. How about you?
There are definitely so many visions that we also heard today, and that the technology is emerging rapidly. And also there are so many like digital and technical solutions already, and this ecosystem is very, very complex. And what if we could like build some agentic AI bots in between to facilitate more faster data exchange, because we cannot possibly build all the API connections. It's gonna be too much. So maybe AI agentic bots will help us out.
Okay, thank you. And Anja.
Well, I was going to propose communication, which is not always data sharing, but it's real communication between people.
Yeah.
Because this networking is so important. Sometimes COVID showed us, post-war situation shows it as well. And sometimes we're struggling with finding the proper contact, the proper way to approach someone or an institution or a person with a certain issue. And these networks of communication are sometimes the crucial solutions. So maybe there is a need to establish a platform that would try to answer all these issues, to be a way, a pool to look for it.
All right, thank you. So it seems like we are all looking for that standard somehow, be it centralized platform or the data standards, but anyway, being able to bring the quality of data to the level where we can maybe bring AI on top of it and all that. So this is maybe the message of the day. So we are on the track, but there's a lot to do, but now we are starting to see where those targets are. And I think we are done with the time, but one thing to consider also in the discussions later, how to foster collaboration in this Baltic Sea area so that we actually are going to improve our preparedness and also we can involve those stakeholders in logistics. As said, the shippers are not here. Yeah, that is definitely a problem. We should have those because they actually dictate what we do. So we need to have their involvement, how to get them in, but also how to get the different other stakeholders on board. Yeah, Michael, please.
I have a vision.
Right, go.
So, Scandinavia and the Baltic Sea, I see from a world perspective, is one of the front movers or prime movers when it comes to fossil-free or very sustainable transports. Would you agree on that?
A lot of nodding, yes.
Good. So, and we have in our, I don't know what it's called, in our routes, collaboration is very important as well, right?
And trust even, yes.
And trust. So we have a special interest in promoting emission-free or contributing to a good sustainable world, and probably 98% of the world's population is non-Scandinavian, so to say, so we have a little bit of a challenge. But how about that we make, if you think about an AIS map, we see that we make all the tracks behind all the modes of transport that are being utilized, that we show, like take for example the Vasa line, Vasa-Umeå ferry, is a super green track behind it because it's using LBG and electricity. And then we have a Maersk vessel that is coming in here and that is consuming a lot of non-fossil-free fuel, and then that is super red. And then we expand that to all modes of transport, and we encourage everyone to share data about their emissions. And then for the ones that do not share, we guess. And I promise you, they want to show the real values instead of being the blames or being the shame. So how about launching a Baltic Sea initiative where we actually reveal for the customers of the transports of what emissions that are generated, and see this as a community effort, because nobody can head this whole thing.
Yep. Let's put that on the list of initiatives. At this point, any further questions? Or comments as well? Yes, please.
Government.
You're the only private one here now. Yeah, you're right. We are public-private or public-private.
To helping that, we just actually heard also from Heidi that actually now the Accounting Emission Act has approved, so it's also coming, so it's helping us on this emission issue that Michael was pointing out.
Yes. All right. But anyway, thank you, panelists. It's been really a good day, and also I hope that good initiatives that were brought up will be further discussed as we move on. Next, there will be some demonstrations at the back of the room, and then there will be some snacks and cocktails.
Yes. So, thank you all participating in DigiLog4 today. Let's start now networking. But before we go on that, Marko, did you find answers for your 3 questions?
I somehow knew you were going to ask that, so I had it in paper. Actually, I used 5 keywords to see if I get bingo, and those were digitalization, cooperation, competitiveness, automation, and sustainability. And all those keywords were here. Even the automation was in Finnair Cargo when they removed automation, but still it's automation. So I got the bingo, and we have so many good practical examples. So I can say it was, this time it was best practices bingo, not bullshit bingo.
Thank you, Marko. Those were amazing words for the ending. And just before going on the networking, I would like to also thank all the people behind organizing this. So Juho, Kyösti, and Alex, you have been helping us to make this event, and also, of course, CaaS Nordic, Traficom, and ITS Finland. And especially for Kyösti, as a CaaS Nordic agent, this might be now the last time. So this is 4th time Kyösti will go on retirement. So maybe there will be 5th time still also coming. So big thanks to Kyösti also. And with these words, we close the official part, and now networking. Go and see the demos, start some new business ideas, collaboration ideas. That's the aim of this meeting also. Thank you.